And welcome to Game Changer World. Let's get everybody up on stage. How you doing tonight, Effy?
Wow, I just popped in here really quick. Can you hear me all right?
I hear you great. You sound good.
Perfect. Well, I am great. I'm fine. It's good. How are you, John?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. I actually took a little nap. Brant's under the weather, so he's not here with us tonight. I'm on the other side of an illness. The weather's been crazy in Vegas, so
what do you mean crazy in Vegas?
Oh, yeah, I know, right? We're looking at the 80s this week.
Wow.
Yeah, tomorrow's
24 degrees here in Atlanta today.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you getting snow down there?
We're not getting any snow, but we do have an indoor chicken right now. And that's been quite interesting. She's looking at me as we speak, and she still wants to go out every morning at 8 a.m., even when it's 24 degrees. So,
oh, yeah.
It's working.
I wanted to let you know, too, we just had one of the listeners here. Oh, Reed Harris Cooper said, flip your background if you get a chance there, because it looks like
backwards?
Yes.
Okay, because it was showing up backwards to me, and so I changed it so that it would not look backwards.
You can take your time if you need to. It's good.
Watch this. No, I'm fine. Look at this. I'm a professional.
I got to talk to you about your green screen sometime, too. I need to get one.
Professional. QR code. You can click it, I think, on your screen, maybe. If you screenshot, maybe.
There you go.
You're telling me that's not backwards?
That's perfect.
That's absurd. Am I seeing you backwards?
I know.
There's no way this is not backwards, John.
I love you. It's perfect. Yeah, check out the YouTube feed.
No, I'm just, oh my God, they're playing games with me too?
Oh no. Okay, there's a ton of listeners in here, welcome. If you have a chance, let us know if you see it as normal or do you see it as backwards?
Which way am I facing?
You look like you have a hell of a tan right now with that red though. You're making me look pale.
It's probably because of the visualizer here. I don't know what color I am. I'm the correct color. I'm here as I stand, and I'm a little red. Yeah.
No, you look great, man.
Because of the sun, probably.
Yeah, you actually get sun, whereas I'm indoors most of my day.
My lips do look pretty pink.
I was gonna say you got a good color going there.
We're working.
Not everybody can get that one naturally.
Good. People are here now. What's up? Yeah, I'm getting interviewed all night. I'm gonna stick with you deep, John, but I got to tell you personally, if you've been listening to my podcast at all, or if anyone has, I've not been like in the greatest mood. And I feel like Reed was like, why are you coming here to talk? You have your own podcast. And I was like, cause like y'all don't listen to my podcast. And so let's talk about it and let's get into it and let's answer questions, because I'm just reaching this point, John, where I'm like, I'm doing Big Gay Brunch 11 in the US. It's the 15th Big Gay Brunch in the world. I have waited for the industry to catch up to me. They have not. They've continued belittling me in a lot of ways around the globe, even though I'm a world champion, even though I was ranked 42 in the PWI, even though while everyone else ran away and did their other things, I've held it down in GCW while they've all chosen, whatever alternate path they have to take. And I feel like I have a lot to say on it, but I also want to hear the formation of the questions from people that are paying attention to it, because it really does feel sometimes like I'm Sisyphus pushing the ball up the hill, where like, look at the I never want to be a person who stands on legacy, but it is absurd nowadays that I enter a space and I almost have to be like, I know, like, I know, and to have to even bring that up without people, sort of just prefacing it with like, Jesus Christ, look at the material of what Effy's produced in 12 years of being a professional wrestler, of existing outside of whatever the expectation of wrestling is, of having made enemies along the way and still being standing here and being of importance to where wrestling's going today. And it's like, all right, well, let's just hear from the people. Let's get right to it. I'm not going to make you actively seek out my podcast if you don't want to listen to it. So I can answer those things here for you. And then the real ones will figure out, oh, he's been over here once a week for 250 episodes, chanting the fucking truth about what's going on in this world and in this business. And if he's fine, we'll find out over here. And we're going to find out tonight. We're going to know.
I will tell people who are big GCW fans that tuning into Effy's weekly show, You hear a lot of inside baseball every now and then. So if you're one of those nerds for GCW, if you really want to know what people are thinking,
if Brett starts listening to my show, he's going to be like, why are you telling people this stuff? And I'm like, I honestly, I'm not telling anybody anything that's going to ruin the illusion by any means, but also like, I'm sorry if you follow, a particular type of theater or performance or band or thing, like you are more enriched by knowing some of these things behind the scenes, because I think like as someone who has a passion for it, as someone who cares about it, we're real human beings. And sometimes those crazy matches or stories or shows, getting that extra insight makes it even crazier that these things exist or happen or, are able to be pulled off. I constantly say that wrestling lives on a tightrope, and like we forget how tight that string can be. And if you are not good at holding your balance, these things don't happen. But miraculously, over and over and over again, we pull it off. And it's like, I think adding to the story and the humanity of that almost raises its mythology. It doesn't take away any of the mystery or grandeur that we try to hide behind in wrestling.
That's a hell of a start. I didn't even get to your intro. Let me give you a quick intro. We're actually going to dive directly into this amazing dust up, I guess is the best way to put it, amongst you and your circle at GCW here. So yeah, relax for a minute or two and let's get everyone caught up on who Effy is and what he's done. I know, right? 726 documented matches in his career, with the most he wrestled in 1 year, 114 in 2023 across 39 companies. In the last 5 years, he's averaging 97 matches a year. He's wrestled 256 matches in his almost 7-year career at GCW, first appearing on April 6, 2019 at the Clusterfuck from Joey Janela's Spring Break 3.
Side note, I think there's only 2 people who have more GCW matches than me.
Oh, so that would be, okay. I'm guessing Joey and Jimmy Lloyd.
That's correct. I believe I'm number 3. I think ahead of Gage, ahead of a lot of other people. I think it's Jimmy Lloyd, Joey Janela, and then I think I come in at 3. I think Deppin's pretty close, though. I would have to imagine, because there's a lot of shows Deppin was on that I was not on.
Yeah, Oliver also did a hell of a run for quite a few years, where he was in the top 3, I think, for quite a few years in the roster.
But much like Allison, he took a little 10-month break to go get his knee fixed, and it worked out well for him. He got his little contract.
Oh, it worked out real well. Good for him, right?
Yeah, I loved hearing him get backstage at a big company and they go, "Oh, you're a tall, big boy." And I go, "Yeah, dude, the second they see you, they realize you're not some little high school. You're still introing me. I'm sorry.
You're good. Well, you're both deceptively tall. I'll just peel that one back real quick also. Well, before
have I made you aware of the only person ever to say that I was shorter than they expected?
No.
Do you mind if I tell this real quick?
Rock and roll. No.
Okay,
first of all, I'll say thank you to AEW King. He said, "So cool to see you, Effy and John."
Hey, shout out to AEW King.
Love you.
Yeah, really. And shout out the new kings of AEW, Jordan and Alec, busting the brain. I think they're about to be the tag team champions over there. Okay, so here's the story.
Yeah.
I'm backstage. This is the last day that Jeff Jarrett worked as the house show coordinator for WWE. The house show taking place was at the Hard Rock in Atlantic City, right next to the Showboat, the same day that a show was taking place that featured Effy. During that time, the one called Steve Manders, who will not answer my text right now, we can talk about that later, brings his buddies over, which includes Maven. This was the show with the Maven wedding, so he was hanging out there anyway. The Miz and Seth Rollins came over to see them. I just want to say out loud, I am actually taller than the Miz, and I respect the Miz. He's not involved further in the story. Seth Rollins said something to me, and I said something back. It was around the time Becky Lynch was wearing a very identical jacket to me. I may have made a suggestion that Seth could borrow the jacket if he needed help getting over again, in jest. And he went back to Steve Manders, and he said, "I thought Effy would be bigger than that. He's a little shorter than I expected." And that to me was the start of a feud, because no one's ever said that before. The only thing they've ever said to me is the line from Roadhouse opposite, which is in Roadhouse, everybody's like, "Thought you'd be bigger." And in real life, everybody walks up to Effy and they're like, "You're actually a pretty large person." And John, you're a tall guy. I mean,
yes,
you tower over a lot of wrestlers. Okay. And I think that like, gives you a fairer advantage of like, oh, you can tell when somebody walks in and they're a big jack dude.
Yeah.
I'm a bigger jacked dude than they think.
That's the truth. Lucky you, by the way. Take it where you can get it, honestly.
100%.
Yeah.
And, you know, not to get too into the drama, but I do like the fact that, like, I can be a queer icon, and then at its core, like, I'm a very large cis male. And so if I have to stand in front of people and kind of hold the first knife, I feel like I have a little more durability that I can handle some of this shit harder than other people should have to. So, like, if I'm going to be a big white male, I better at least use it to make it better for people who aren't, because, you know, I could be ashamed of my privilege, or I could beat somebody's ass in the name of LGBTQIAs.
Do you feel you're some of the last of the classic fighting gays that normally took a bunch of shit and had to fight?
I think, like, you know, I've brought this up too about kind of redoing sort of a Pink Panthers kind of vibe, which I think they changed their name because they didn't want to disrespect the Black Panthers in that aspect. But if people are familiar, the Pink Panthers back in the day, especially West Coast San Francisco, and probably some of the bigger East Coast cities, had groups that would basically make sure the tender queers and the young femmes and the girls got home safely by beating up people who were trying to mug them or harass them or mess with them on the street. And so you had these gangs of giant, big biker gay boys going around making sure you were fucking with their people while they were coming home. And it's, you know, I've often joked that, like, gay bashing is what I do. I'm the gay that bashes you. But I think we have to, like, respect when people don't want to have that kind of identity, but also we have to, like, try to let people know if they want to be violent queers, we have space for you, and hopefully the violence never comes. But if it has to, you know, I want you know, get behind me and let's do some killing. Wait, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You're too excited.
Of course, the mute button hit me.
Yeah.
Here. You're going to love this. You ready? Over that time, he's won the GCW Tag Team Championship as Bussy with Alley Catch, and also the GCW World Championship, which you carried for 307 days. That was the 5th longest title reign of any GCW World Champion, with the most defenses by a GCW World Champion.
Is that true?
Yes, it is. I actually went back and looked it up. You were 2 defenses further than Blake Christian. Blake Christian had 42.
Oh,
yeah, you had 44.
Marvelous. So what you're really saying is, by length, it may be 5th, but by importance and value,
day by day value,
baby.
Day by day value, you've shown that on average, you've defended it more than any other GCW champion to date.
Incredible. And at more promotions than any GCW champion. And even if it wasn't the most defenses, I guarantee you it was the most promotions, because I wanted to make it a wrestling world championship. And, you know, it seems that, and I brought this up on my podcast too, but I love seeing inspired acts be inspired. And I saw what young MJF wants to do with his AEW championship, and it does seem to be similar.
Very interesting.
You know, wanting to defend it all over the place at every promotion to make it a traveling journeyman's belt. I've never heard that before.
Let me get this other part real quick in here. As the trailblazer you are also the first openly LGBTQ plus wrestler to hold the top title in GCW history.
That we know of.
I purposely said openly.
Yeah, you're right.
He's a 13-time champion, averaging 222 days, right on the nose, per major title reign. A few notables: the two-time Fest wrestling champion, totaling 987 days. The Inspire Pro Pure Prestige champion, 357 days, and the Freelance Legacy champion, 302 days. He's been seen in teams like Bussy Thrusy Thrunt, Second Gear Crew, SG Cunt, add Bussy, Effy Cat, and Gay Panic, and you have damn near everything you've seen Effy do on the independent scene.
There is no way to Google Effy without finding pornography. There's no word set, there's no tag team, there's no grouping, there's no style of thing. if you search for me in the modern era, welcome to our world, you can say, oh, Effy, that's trashy. But no, what you should say is the rest of the world is trashy, because everything associated with me is just about Effy and wrestling and having a good time. But if you're going out there on the web and you're trying to search for Bussy or Thrunt, which is a throat cunt, or Effy, which seems to be a common name amongst cam girls, or I mean, there's just a lot of things that you search. Wrestling is gay. Search that, girl. Ooh, you're gonna find some roster members out there doing private matches. Imagine if gay men didn't pay to have private matches done. Half of these guys would have had to get jobs at Chili's before they ever got signed anywhere.
I'll let that one ride quietly, like I know nothing. Damn you.
You can't meet a wrestler and tell them your favorite match was the private customs match they did in a warehouse in the little baby singlet, even if it is.
You fucker.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna make this. I'm here, baby. I'm loose. I'm raw. Everybody wants to know if I'm fine. I'm so beyond fine that I am ascending. It's a censure. Okay. I'm frame logging myself. I'm 12 years into this shit, and I'm the least bored I've ever been.
I was gonna say you are having a hell of a lot of fun, and
I'm directing wrestling in the direction I want to see it go. Like, I am able to grab the front of this ship and move it by however much I want to move it, and people can try to redirect the ship, but there is this kind of beauty to Effy that, you know, I'm hearing the intro, and I often don't live in the past on any of this shit. But the fact is, you can't look at the totality of the wrestling industry from start to finish, from everything that existed, and say that you can't tell I exist. There is proof I exist. There is proof that I am in the DNA of this thing. There is proof that it looks different because I showed up. And there's kind of a beauty in being able to say, look, you may never accept me as part of your little posse, but you don't have to, because I've overwhelmingly ascended that to get directly to the people who are going, we didn't think wrestling was anything like this. And now that we have seen it be like this, we only want to see it be like this. And, you know, for someone who has to hear constantly from all of these wrestling companies, there's no new fans. We need to just pay attention to wrestling fans. We need to just show wrestling fans the wrestling they want to see. No, wrong. There are new fans every week at GCW. There are new fans coming to see Effy. There are fans who are coming in going, I don't even give a shit about wrestling, but I wanted to come see Effy or Bussy or whatever the case may be. We are proving that there's an audience out there, that wrestling is not reaching, that we are trying to get our hands on. And instead of embracing that, all of these losers just think we're trying to bat them out of the system, instead of going, hey, none of us are actually getting that good of TV ratings, even at the top. None of us are getting that good of fandom where we're selling out these stadiums over and over. Why are we not all working together to see why we're not getting new fans and these people are? But it is this thing where, on the grandest scheme, I watch wrestling. There are people who are fans of wrestling. I go to GCW shows. I'm paying attention to all the shows. I know there are ravenous fans in places, but people are horny for GCW, and they are fans of wrestling. And so if you only come to us, I can't help that, because that means when they're coming to you, they're not getting what they want. But if they're only coming to us and we're doing something magic, you can hold us on the outskirts, or you can keep poaching all of our talent. You can keep using all of our ideas, and you can keep saying that we're outlaw scum on the outside, while you've got people eating pussy on your TV show saying that I'm too obscure and too out there and too perverted to exist in your world, when it's just false. Grow up. It's everybody takes things personally, but what I'm saying is everyone needs to grow up. Wrestling is in the fucking trenches right now. The world is in the trenches a little bit, but what I'm looking at with wrestling, I'm going, y'all are bragging about those viewership numbers, or you're coming to me saying, well, I was on this TV show. Darling, 300,000 people watching you do something is not impressive. There are 380 million people in the United States, and at least 128 million of them were watching the Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance. Darling, you're not an over wrestler. Bad Bunny is an over wrestler, and he's on the Super Bowl. The rest of you are just arguing over dividing a piece of pie that's getting smaller every year, instead of looking for new types of pie to eat. It's disgusting.
I've learned over the years now, I'm starting to see that GCW has become the girlfriend that someone is dating but doesn't want to bring home to the family to show everybody they're dating. You know, they're with them every night on the side when everybody else is, you know, went to bed for the night.
Also, I have learned unfortunately, that since my voice is sometimes honored or sometimes treated with importance when it can be used against me, that my issues with things or my beliefs in the direction things should go often have hurt other people in ways where they can't hurt me or they can't take, away. You can't. The problem is I don't have a boss really. And even Brett Lauderdale would take you that. And when we had issues last year with the whole Ricky Stark situation, who is now an NXT champion, so everybody can suck my fucking dick on that one. Honest to God, look who won in that fucking race. I want to be sure that what I'm doing is not personally hurting anyone else, because there's a track list, if you look through it, of people having interactions with Effy where it's gone very well for them in their career. And there's an interaction of, I interacted with Effy and it has fucked my whole career up. And I can say that objectively here. And it is like this weird thing where some days I'm screaming into the ether. I'm fucking screaming, trying to constantly put out content, constantly give to the fans, constantly do everything. And the second I say something along the lines of, you're doing shady business and it's lame, I'm now somehow an important pariah with 1 million retweets on it across the news sites. And so it is frustrating when it's like, I'm putting together a big gay brunch. I'm highlighting these talent. We'll go over the big gay brunch this year. We'll go over the big announcements. I may even drop an announcement tonight that I don't even have a graphic for yet because I just got it handled because it's crazy. And where I stand is when the positivity is put in and when the work is put in, it is not acknowledged in the same way as when I say, hey, what you're doing is shady. And everybody has to go, no, you're not allowed to hurt my feelings or say this or say that. I don't give a fuck personally about any of them. What I am saying is there is a true trickle down to wrestling. Unfortunately, it's the only place Reaganomics has ever worked in the history of the world. And the fact is, when wrestling is hot, everywhere in wrestling is hot. And what I'm saying is when I see your company sucking and being trash and not doing well and repeating old storylines and just being mid as shit, especially with a talented roster, I'm allowed to say you're taking fans' energy, attention, money, and you're making them feel like they've wasted it. And if you're going to put out bad product, I'm allowed to say you're doing it. If we were putting out bad product at GCW, I would hope someone would say that. I would hope someone would say this show was not good. But if we're putting out great product and the people are loving it, they're waiting for us to make a mistake. They're waiting for us to look bad in a way. They're waiting for us to be able to cut us down because they think I'm cutting them down. When in reality, I'm going, I wish all these companies had 4 million people watching them a week, because all that would mean is more people interested in wrestling, looking into wrestling and finding Effy. Instead, we're arguing over the fucking tribalism of everything. And then when I say something, they think, oh, well, it's because he's mad he doesn't work here, or it's because he's mad he wants to do this. No, I'm mad that you're ass. I'm mad that you fucking suck at this job. I'm mad that you own the company because you have the most money and not because you're the best at wrestling. And I understand we are not in a society of just rewarding the best skill. It's a utopia that doesn't exist. But like, it's very frustrating sometimes to see who gets to make the decisions when people who really understand wrestling, and I'm not saying it has to be me, but there are people who are in these positions who are letting a lot of shit slide because they don't want to have to say no to someone or say this isn't a good idea. And it's making all of wrestling worse.
So yeah, the first time you were on here, funny thing, that was a day or two after all that stuff hit the fan. And I remember just going, you know what? Let's talk about this and get it figured out. And you came on here and you did just that. And I still love you for that, because I want to acknowledge, and we haven't yet, that you really don't do interviews, outside interviews at all.
Well, and it's an on purpose thing now. And I don't want to be like rude about it, but it's like, it's very hard for me to want to, like today, for instance. And this is, I got in a big fight. Peter's out there right now. Peter is my co-host on Weekend at Effy's. Every week we put out an episode of Weekend at Effy's. I started doing more interviews, which I
love it.
I shied away from a little. The new Darian Bankston interview that's coming out is incredible. I'm going to be getting some people in who are here for the TNA tapings to do some interviews of that too. And I think it's a new thing for me where Peter's now learning a lot about the wrestling. But I said a comment where I was like, 4 people came up to me this weekend and they were like, we didn't even know you had a podcast. And when I said that, Peter took that as like, I don't tell people about it, but it was more in the fact of like, I can appear and tell people things 100 times, and it's very hard to get that message across. And so when we are trying to get this information out, when we are putting our whole body into putting out wrestling content, today we filmed or recorded our main episode together. We recorded our Patreon exclusive astrology episode. Peter is an astrologer, and we kind of go through the month. And we recorded a movie episode, which is separate from our WWE movie episodes, which is separate from our Movie John, which is another movie magazine episode. And so, like, what do I need to say to any of these people who want to have me on the show, where most of the time they're not like you, John. They're people who are reading through my cage match at a time. I've been on so many interviews where I get halfway through and I'm like, this guy's just reading my cage match. This is absurd. This is insane. And
I do that in the beginning.
No, but you're also just setting that up. It's not, every question is not, and then on April, it looks like in April, it's just like, and also as mean as this sounds, a lot of these people who want to put you on, they don't have the audience that's separate from my own audience. Why am I going to expand myself out to do your stuff when I have a direct line to these people? But it is sort of like, I'm having this realization this year that, like, collaboration is the only way any of this shit survives. So with what I have said yet, and what I've said already here, I am trying in my heart to be a more positive builder of things, to work together on things, to also, with Big Gay Brunch this year, to look at a bigger picture and go, okay, I a lot of times book the show for myself. Okay. And the reason for that is because the first show we ever did was right after Speaking Out. And I said, I don't know anybody. Who am I going to book? I'm only going to book people I like know. And that still doesn't clear you all the way. You can do all the research and not clear you all the way. And I've always had this hesitation of, like, if I don't know you personally, I really don't want to be around you. Even if you have a reputation, even if you're good, even if you'll sell tickets, it's just like, when it's my show, I would rather risk it on, well, I know this person pretty well. If they're hiding something from me, I've tried my best. But as I've kind of expanded, I've gone, okay, well, I'm missing out on people that are remarkable to the history, are a part of this show, should be a part of this show. And so this year, especially, I've really kind of like opened this thing up crazy. And I actually just got, I don't know if I should announce it tonight. I just got the graphics in for, okay, that's crazy.
Don't tease like that. Come on now. You can't be sitting here and tipping the cart and then going,
I just got 10 Big Gay Brunch graphics.
Oh, well,
10.
I'm not pushing then. I get
John,
it now.
I've overbooked this whole show. Can I hold up one of these and just blow everybody's mind? Oh, I don't know if I should I'm going to do it. Can you read that?
No kidding. Okay, yeah. Do you want me to say it, or
say it.
For our audio listeners, it's just been announced for Big Gay Brunch 11 here in Las Vegas. Nyla Rose will be attending. I don't even want to guess on where their match is going to be.
Oh, I'm putting together the match of matches for Miss Nyla Rose. This is a debut for Nyla. This is massive. I just saw some other. If you guys have ever thought, oh, there's room where Effy could book more people this year, I don't even think Brett knows how many people I booked, and I keep kind of adding it. And there's a particular match idea that has never been done before that I am doing this time that I think Brett is not going to like.
Uh-oh.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, there's also going to be some more collective announcements regarding Effy that I think people are going to be very surprised about. And I'll let everybody guess, but I can't confirm anything yet. But a couple crazy things coming for Effy, I got to say.
Okay, so I was actually going to start with your situation at GCW, but we hit Big Gay Brunch and you just released news. So let's talk about Big Gay Brunch here.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. April 18th, 11 a.m. at the Horseshoe in Las Vegas will be Effy's Big Gay Brunch 11. This series of shows have been celebrated as one of the most inclusive and LGBTQ plus focused shows in wrestling, emphasizing representation, diverse performers, vibrant themes, and a mix of high-energy, entertaining matches. The event often features colorful entrances, and I have to say, definitely a party-like atmosphere.
Well, yeah, you've been there.
Yes.
And it is a party.
It's fun as hell.
I gotta say, the energy of a Big Gay Brunch at that time of the week, after all of these shows have happened already, we're getting ready for Mania. We're kind of trying to find our fifth wind, of sitting through these shows. I came into this with the idea that like it should feel like you've been going all night at the gay party and we're just keeping the party going. The energy is like being in the back of the smoker section at the gay club. There's drag queens everywhere. People are going nuts. There's blood. It's just like, it's a psychotic, wild, fun, energetic thing that I hope feels like as much of a party as it is a wrestling show, where I think we take the wrestling very seriously. I mean, that's, people often ask, oh, do you really book the Gay Brunch? And the fact is, I can say yes, but I look to Brett Lauderdale in a lot of ways to make sure that we're also meeting the GCW standard, because people can call us indies all day. I think we have the most diverse style of wrestling. I think we had Monday Night Raw was here yesterday. I ran into Shinsuke Nakamura in the airport. And then I realized, I went, oh, Raw's here tonight. And when you go to a Raw taping for 3 hours, 4 hours, if you're there for the pre-show, there's roughly 30 minutes of wrestling. Okay. There's segments, there's commercials, there's backstage, there's in-ring promos, there's videos. There is not a lot of wrestling. And so with the GCW show, with the focus every week, every show being fitting as much wrestling in these 2.5, 3 hour periods as we can, I need what we're putting forward with Big Gay Brunch being a part of the GCW universe to be as crazy as GCW is. And like, I've joked that, I'm doing a gay Joey Janela cosplay, but like, how could I not follow the legend when you see what he's been able to create with, Spring Break, when you see what he's been able to create with just the way he's worked with certain people's careers, the way they book superstars, the way they bring people back in strange ways. There is a way to do wrestling that GCW does that I think is reflected in the Big Gay Brunch. And I hold to that standard to make sure we're not overwhelming the fans, but we're giving them every bit of this thing. And, we always have this conversation every year where I'll say, so-and-so is booked. And Brett, you have to know Brett a little bit, because he's he'll really play with you if he's having fun, and he'll be like, well, who is that? And me, if you say, who is that? I get very
And it's dry humor too. It's like a dry humor, so you can't tell.
There's also like a Philly, New Jersey thing that I had to figure out with these guys early on, where like Joey Janela, for instance, would be like, what's the deal with that guy? And you take it as like, what do you mean what's the deal with that guy? What they're really doing is just going like, what's up with it? Like, tell me about him. But they ask it in a way that is almost like Philadelphia accusatory. And so when Brett says things like, well, who is that? I go in my head, I'm like, well, they've done this and they've done this and they did this. But then it's always funny because these people that he says, who is that? He ends up booking them on other Big Gay Brunch shows or other GCW shows just outright. And it's sort of like, why are you even coming to me and asking me who is that, when historically the talent we bring forth to you has been phenomenal? And I hope to keep kind of doing that expansion. I mean, if it was up to me, if we were really doing this the right way, there would just be a Big Gay Brunch every month and it'd be the only thing I do. But we're not, fortunately, at that position. So it's still like, I'm not trying to be over here patting myself on the back, but like you read at the beginning of the show, there's not many people, unless they're like middle-aged Japanese guys who work every house show on the loop, who are working more matches than me during the year. And then on top of that, to be sort of in charge of like what's up next on the gay agenda, it's overwhelming, John. And it is, me and Brett had this argument too, where I was like, listen, I said, it's a little different. He said, there's people messaging me all the time. Their dreams are on the line. I want to include new talent. I want to get new people in front. But he's like, the reality is, we only have so much space at a time. We want to keep bringing people in. We want to bring people back that they enjoy. But I was like, but the difference is, Brett, these kids are from a small niche version where not feeling included is almost just like self-dismissive. And I don't know if it, made full sense there, but there's like a bigger part of your sense of self wrapped into being a performer, when I think that you are, any kind of minority, be it a sexual minority, a gender minority, a racial minority, being in wrestling like that, it is very hard to get those opportunities. And so like, I take it like probably too seriously, probably to the point where like it does weigh on me heavier than it needs to. It is something that affects and, changes my mental health throughout the year. Like I can't remember having a very fun February the past few years, just because it's like making those decisions and breaking that down and figuring out what the fuck is going on before I not only have to go to Vegas and do all these shows, but have to run this show and have to then get through weeks and weeks of wrestling. Like, I had a moment today where I didn't even know what the fuck I'm doing. I know I'm booked on these dates, but I cannot figure out what the fuck I'm booked for on these dates. And it's embarrassing, but it's also like, that's just where I'm at right now, man. There's a lot going on all the time. There's a lot to keep up with. I have a whole life I'm trying to keep up with. And to also have that weighing on you where like, these children are going to feel fully left out if they're not involved in your show, but also like, are they ready to be involved yet? Do we need them for that spot? It's like, on one hand, I'm sitting here going, it's just a fucking wrestling show. And on the other hand, I'm going, this is a life-altering thing that you've provided for people that didn't have anything like this. And with the other people that have brought shows like this that have come and gone, they were unable to stand by it. And I want to still be able to provide that for them. But it's like, I have to find a way to do it where I'm not as directly, handily involved in every emotional decision, because it's like, I got to still be Effy too, you know, but I believe in them.
You're dealing with, I guess the best way to put it is the gay Super Bowl. So the problem is, I think everybody wants to perform on that stage.
Right. It was just incredible, but also like, oops, can I say it? Oops.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a tenacious person. I go for it. Right. And I think that's something I try to inspire in other people in wrestling is like, yeah, you see Effy and you see Effy at the top, but like, I was also willing to eat a bucket of shit to taste a piece of steak. And then when I wanted to taste another piece of steak, I ate another bucket of shit. And I'm not saying everyone should have to do that, but this isn't something that just like, I was thrown into this position. In the early days of GCW, people were saying, oh, he must have ownership or he must own part of the company or do something. I'm like, no, dog, then you haven't been to the shows because Effy's fucking over everywhere he goes. Effy sells tickets everywhere he goes. And Effy busts his ass every time he's out there to do this and to build this legacy and to build this thing up. And to get to this point where, like you're saying, it's the gay Super Bowl, it's the biggest gay show of the year. There's no doubt of that. And I'm sitting here going, you think I expected any of this shit? I was just trying to get booked. You know, like I'm not someone who's going to turn down the opportunities, but it's also like, holy fuck, what have I done? And I'm not going to be able to reflect back on it for a long time. I'm very much a person who kind of lives in the next day and the next day. You know, people will remind me of stuff that's happened or stuff I've done. And it's like, I love hearing things I've done that like, it's not a concussion thing, but you just don't remember everything you've done. And hearing those things from, 3 years ago, this happened, 5 years ago, this happened, 10 years ago, this happened. And being completely cool with everything you're hearing about yourself. That's kind of magic, but it's also like, yeah, it's the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And where does that end you up? All of a sudden you're on top of this mountain and people are going, you're the king of the mountain. And you're going, fuck, you guys can come up here too, please. And you're just like kind of pulled every direction. You know, it's to exist now doesn't make sense that I can. Like it's very strange to be in a position where I've been an independent full-time performer for 7 years. I've only been Effy all the time for 7 years, but that's like a crazy amount of time. Like, go back and check the indie runs of anybody. They were begging to get signed anywhere when they could. And could I make more money doing that? Yes, but I also like, I'm in this grand experiment right now of, can I create a world for myself that's just by me, for me, that people want to participate in a way that I can pay my bills and be alive. But in the same sense, it is foolish that I am, you know, running this experiment still, when all that news was going up, I was sitting in this room going, if anybody who is mad at me knew I live in a 2-bedroom house and my bed is 10 feet from me right here and I'm streaming and all my merch is in the room and the chicken has to stay indoors because it's cold. Like it's absurd that like I'm able to do this in one sense. It's also absurd that I have gotten to this point and I'm going, maybe you should have just shut the fuck up. But I don't know. I think there's a greater story to be told here than just the immediate convenience of getting something you want.
Okay, so there's a couple things here I want to talk to you about when it comes to this. Announced so far for Big Gay Brunch 11, Mad Dog Connolly, Jordan Blade,
crazy,
Brick Savage, Alley Catch, Dark Sheik, Kid Bandit, Devon Moore, Monomoth, Viperous, recently announced Mercedes Martinez. I know I won't go into Viperous and Mercedes. I find that one interesting. But it sounds like you're starting to collect a small roster of big Gay Brunch regulars here. Is that making it easier kind of to put everything together?
No, John.
It's making it personal, huh?
Yes, yes. Because then it's like, if I don't book you every time, you feel a certain way. But if I don't make room for other people, you feel a certain way. But here's the thing. I just had to decide this year on the roster, like, just go for it. And I think Devon Monroe was someone that we really missed last year. I love everything they've been doing. They defeated me for the freelance belt, and I invited them to the show right then. And they are now the First Wrestling champion. And I have a great history of working with First Wrestling in Minneapolis. Shout out to the people in Minneapolis dealing with that shit right now. It's like I went to Minneapolis, and then I was like, oh, everything seemed fine up there. And then the next week it was like out of control. And I know that, you know, that roster especially is very community active and very in the same mindset that I am about ICE and, you know, the government and where it stands now. So I hope that they get through that all right. But there are some people coming back. There are some people missing, but it's like, I'm about to announce 10 more fucking things, which is insane. We just announced Nyla Rose here. I've also got, you know, like Anton from Hood Slam from the Caution with Dark Sheik is one of the craziest wrestlers. Like, I compare him a little bit to Tony Deppen in that, like, I've never seen him have a bad match with anyone, but there's certain things he can do in the ring that other people can't do. And there's certain things, and this is a Dan Barry quality, that Anton can make you do in the ring that you didn't think you could do. And that to me makes for someone that is very interesting in any kind of match they get put in. There's so many more people to announce. This is out of control.
Stay right there for a second. I just want to say, Casa, thank you so much for your donation also. Greatly appreciated. Interesting thing you're asking. Okay, so Casa's asking about how you decided on Yellow Brick Road. I was going to maybe ask you a little later once we get out of Big Gay Brunch on that one, because that seems to be a popular question. And I definitely want to get to that.
It has to do with Big Gay Brunch. And I think, one big thing I've done this year is sort of accepted my stubbornness as both a flaw and a character trait that I adore. And that song, the lyrics were written by Bernie Taupin after him and Elton had a night at Andy Warhol's place. And they had been at the party, and Andy Warhol had a piano, and he kept telling Elton to play songs for people. Won't you perform for us? And so this song is written as a threat. This song is a threat that what you are seeing in front of you is by choice. What you are being presented by Effy is by choice. I am not your little jukebox. I am not your little do the moves we want to see you do. I am not your little creation that you can tell to stand where you want to stand. I am an integral part to what I am doing. I will discuss what I am doing. I will decide what I am doing. That holds me back in a lot of ways in wrestling, but I'm reminding myself and the world when I come back that I can go back to the plow. I can go back to the woods. I can leave this space. This is my art. This is me. This is Effy. And what you get is what I have chosen to give you. And that song to me is a huge punk rock anthem. And it is like a little frustrating that I'm kind of sick of hearing it, but I tried to change the song and was told no.
Really?
But not just by one promotion. I've tried to change the song other places, and they have said, absolutely not. That's what the people want to see. And I'm going to tell you a secret I learned from the Juggalos, okay? If you can make your whole day's money putting on the clown outfit and getting covered in soda for an hour and a half, shut the fuck up and put on the clown outfit and get covered in soda for an hour and a half. If they want to hear Yellow Brick Road, they're going to hear Yellow Brick Road. And there's something so powerful about that, where it's like, it's not dismissive of the art or the thing, but it's sort of like, okay, well, you're in a mood today and you don't feel like being that. Well, people have paid hard-earned money because you presented something exciting that they wanted to be a part of. Grow the fuck up, put on the pantyhose, and go be Effy, and here's the song. But I do respond to the song a lot more now. Those first few lines of lyrics are questions. You can go look up the lyrics on your own. And I like to say no. I say no about 4 times before I walk out. So
when are you going to come down?
Yep.
When are you going to land?
Not.
And then So you're back there kind of calling and answering before you come out.
Yeah,
huh?
I got to remind myself a little bit, it's when you've done, you said, there's 700 something matches on Cage Match. I'm going to be clear with you, John. I've done a lot of matches that are not on Cage Match. I'm not saying they're good, but
850 to 900 is what I was guessing.
Georgia, Florida, Alabama. Yeah, there's a lot of promotions who never made the Cage Match run.
Yeah.
It's important to, I think the presentation, but it's also like, I am, I don't want to go too woo-woo here. If you listen to the podcast, I'm a little woo-woo. It's ceremonial, and it is sort of its own ceremony to put yourself through. It is a rhythmic sort of reassessment of self that puts me in the Effy mode. And I think, you can tell who you're getting when I get out there, and it's not always the same every time. And I took that line from Elvis, "This is Effy," which is not just like, here it is, but it's like, tonight you're standing in the same room at the same time, in the same galaxy, in the same universe, not to big brain this. We're together in this space on this particular date and time. This is Effy. Today, right here, you may have seen 100 videos, you may have watched matches, you may have watched moments, you may have seen them. This right here, you're looking at it. Today, in this moment, this is Effy. And to enter to that song, you were always going to get me at my present. I actually answered a question today on the podcast about mindfulness. And I think having a ceremonial song where you're entering a space clean and not bringing the day with you when you're especially going to be performing, it's very important to figure out what kind of ceremony you need. And Elton has been that. And I think sometimes people tell you not to change it, but really it's just the universe going, you're right where you need to be.
That we usually have our group of 4 with us. You see us at the shows, right? The fourth gentleman, nice as can be. He goes to all the big gay brunches. Okay. His group of friends wait for you to come to any show in Las Vegas. I love it. They like to come out. And the first time we heard "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road" and Drew was with me, our 4th person. Yeah. I said, "Welcome to the dance." And he goes,
to the dance.
He goes, "It's live." He goes, "We're dancing, aren't we?" And I go, "Yeah." I go, "Enjoy that. You've been waiting. You've seen it on TV. Yeah. Welcome to the dance. This is what you were here for. Dance."
Bring it in.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is really, is the fans are kind of seeing, okay, I've been waiting. We're here now. We're together. Let's dance. And I think that's how it breaks down.
It is very, let's dance in the moment. It also, I want to slow the room down. There's a lot of people who have very high energy entrances, and I think that's great. But I also want to let you know, because I look back at there's a lot of sick dream matches that I've gotten to have that I'm very grateful for. But if I look at any of those matches that you're thinking when I'm saying a dream match, they've still been Effy matches. And I think having that slow down and having that moment where I'm entering the ring and I'm choosing the speed that I'm going to go at, which can vary in a lot of cases, can vary on the match, but I'm kind of in control of where that pace goes versus me entering and being immediately there for the battle. Because, with Effy, it's not always EFFY. I'm either fucking or fighting you. So let's figure out if there's love in the air first before we have to start beating things down. And obviously, there hasn't been a lot of love in the air lately. I'm not trying to jump ahead, but it's been violent. There's a reason I'm wearing a hat, John.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is that a cardigan or a hoodie? Let's just get that out of the way too. I've been trying to figure it out.
It's a hoodie. Nice. It's a hoodie I got from this store called Sierra. That's like the REI, but it's Ross. It's like the Ross version of REI. It's awesome.
I want to throw this in here real quick. This is coming from our West Coast correspondent, Screwball, who is also a member of the community.
I saw Screwball just did a commentary gig too.
Yes.
Right? Incredible.
A great member of the community, always a great person, period. And to see one of our own over here on the podcast get a chance to go over and do something that they love for the people. Good for Screwball, Sure. Screwball just said, as someone who's dialed in with the LGBTQ plus scene in the city here, hosting brunch 2 years in a row, that's a hell of a waiting list you have going on there.
It is.
So then the other question was, have you found it difficult to run in the same city twice back to back, or is that not a problem for Big Gay Brunch?
Okay, so we're going to be completely honest here. And I love you, and I love Las Vegas in a lot of ways. Last year was very, very difficult. WrestleCon was in a separate location. We were at the Palms. It's, as a homosexual, being in the building where Britney returned for Gimme More with the Snake, VMAs 2007, go watch it. Being in the same venue and having a brunch there, incredible. Working with Ticketmaster, absolute ass. Working with the Palms, sorry, for me personally, absolute ass. And now I was really worried about going back to Vegas and kind of being in the same position where I felt like, in a lot of ways, we did our best with it, but we were neutered in certain circumstances. We were kind of held back in certain ways, and the venues were not very appreciative of, the wrestling that was going on. And to now go, okay, Brett, well, why should I even bring it back to Vegas? And him sort of say, look, this is a whole different thing. We have Eventbrite back. We have WrestleCon in the same building. We're on the Strip. People are not going to have to run across town to do stuff. People are not going to have to run across crazy buildings to do stuff. It's all going to be in the same place. And I was like, okay. So at least when we're asking our fans to come out to this, we are trying to say, look, we know last year was harder. Let's make it more convenient, because I don't want to have to go to our fans and say, oh, come do this thing that's inconvenient. And so not only have the room prices been so much fucking better for the Horseshoe, not only has the setup and the, Brett was just out there with Matt Baruso on a venue trip, checking everything out, making sure we're good. I'm so pumped on it being like this year, because it's like every issue that I was having, it's not like a Vegas issue. It's just like the Vegas we got issue. It seems to have been solved. And so like, I'm coming in with this with my head even higher. And I have also made it a priority that the only place you're going to see Effy, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 times, is going to be at the Collective. It will be within that building. There's a lot of indie shows going on around the city. There's a lot of, other shows happening. I am only appearing at the Collective. I am only appearing within the Horseshoe Casino. And that's something I wanted to do this year to make sure that, we are putting a priority on bringing, people in to see Effy.
I want to do this real quick. Okay. We're on a bunch of subjects. I love this. Blake Christian is in here. I was trying to figure out if this was the proper Blake. He says, ask him who chooses the speed when we wrestle, with a nice little happy
This is face. Incredible. Shout out Blake Christian.
I love Blake Christian.
Okay, I want to say this. Blake Christian is one of my people where I go, I'm so happy I get to see you, genuinely. And I'm even happier when I don't see you at all, because that means you're somewhere killing it, making money, doing something phenomenal. The tag team he's been working with Lee Johnson, they are innovative, they are quick, they have charisma that's come out of both of them in ways that I don't think they were doing on their own. And me and Blake Christian have gotten to wrestle multiple times. The first time when I beat Blake Christian, I chose the speed. The second time when he beat me, he chose the speed. And the third time, which was for the GCW championship, he chose the speed. And then we got in the ring, and that poor New Mexico, the match I don't get in the ring before I wrestle, right? Most of the time. And a lot of that reason is because I kind of know what I'm going to do. And I don't want people to get ideas to try stuff they've never tried before just because we're in the ring together and we can give it a go. Me and Blake crawled that whole match outside of the ring in New Mexico. It's a really fun, really good match. You can tell we didn't know what size the ring was going to be, because I'm telling you, the run spots we were doing, Blake Christian's not a little guy either. He can do very cool cruiserweight things. Not a little guy. 2 steps in that ring to get across that thing. And there was one point where he bumps me with a shoulder tackle and my whole body's already out of the ring, which we still gave him everything. But when Blake Christian picks that speed, I just want to say, I know he's tuning it down a little bit, but I love having the adaptability to where I can meet Blake Christian in the middle. I can meet Blake Christian kind of where he stands and pull that off. And sometimes people are like, well, you don't have to do that to impress anyone. I want to do it to impress myself. I went back and rewatched one of my matches with Pimpinella Escarlata, which is, she's on her 50th year anniversary in wrestling. That's insane. And I've gotten to wrestle her multiple occasions. And I go back and watch and I go, I'm really impressed that I can meet a Lucha Libre legend at a Lucha Libre match. And I'm really impressed that I can meet a Blake Christian who, go back and watch his GCW championship run. The kid can work and go. He may have done a lot of things you disagree with. He may have done some things you didn't like, but that boy can wrestle. And to kind of be able to match an athlete like that and then get to kick back and watch them take it into another gear elsewhere and go, we both kind of fall in the same professional category. I can meet him when I need to, but also like, look at how crazy it is when he can even go further than that. He's just, I wish him only the best. And I think, you know, he's in a period right now where he's going to be doing a lot of work and a lot of matches, but, you know, seeing him, Alec Price, Jordan Oliver, all in the same roster in tag teams right now, I can't think of a cooler thing to get to show the world than those guys operating at peak capacity and being told, hey, go for it, you know, because I think that's when you find some of the best, you know, situations when you just tell guys to go for it. And that's why GCW works so well too, is nobody backstage is going, it's gotta be, though they're going, beat that or show us what you can do. Yeah. And the sometimes the guardrails you're being given at GCW are just, you know, make sure you're not wasting people's time. Make sure if you're out there that it's awesome. You know, even being on shows where Blake Christian went a little longer than expected, there was always the idea of, if you're killing it on a GCW show, if the audience is fully invested in what you're doing, I don't mind cutting a few minutes from my match if the people are on their feet and going crazy, because why would I stop them from loving something that's going on the show? That's absurd. If these guys need 5 more minutes to go that crazy or try something wild, you know, the amount of times I've been watching a Gringo Loco match, I'm like, where are they even going to go from here? And then you go, oh, in that 5 extra minutes, they did the weirdest, craziest 4-man spot that I didn't think was possible, giving these guys that time to do that if they can hit those marks. And it is a risk. We're like, I've seen Jimmy Lloyd come through the curtain sometimes and they go, why the fuck was that 12 minutes, Jimmy? You know, but then you get the days where you're like, hey, Blake, that was 26 minutes and it was supposed to be 15 and it fucking rocked. And I think that there's a magic to going like, all right, guys, let it go, let her rip, and finding out what kind of wrestling you really get from that.
I have nothing but good things to say about Blake. We've actually, Brant and I both have followed him into Ring of Honor and watched some of his stuff over there. And you spend enough time, even if it's just 5-10 minutes, you can read a little bit and go, that's one of the good guys.
And you can see that attitude. And as much as wrestling is moves, you got to have that attitude. And the more and more that kind of slips out, I think we got a future champion, singles or tag or otherwise, on our hands for sure. Especially, you know, as that brand continues to grow. I think they're going to do standalone tapings, which is the greatest idea Ring of Honor's ever had.
I saw that. Yeah, it's about time.
Because those audiences are worn out. They're wrestling fans and they're worn out. And those guys deserve to have an audience that's there for them and have an audience that's vibrant and lively and awake and ready to watch some wrestling.
Okay, so you talked about how you felt like, you know, you got lucky and somewhat fell into the big gay brunch phenomena. Where did the original idea come from? And where did the original idea come from? And how'd that all go down?
All right, I got to pee first, and then I'm going to tell you.
We can take a 3-minute break if you want to. We also don't need to. We'll sit here and take it easy for a minute. I'll tell you what, guys, we've only went through a couple questions. Effy's just rocking right now, and all I have to do is just say one thing and let him do his. Also, I do have a couple questions that I have starred that I've seen some of you guys had asked, so I want you to know that's in there too. But right now, I'm having a hard time even getting my questions in because dude is just on a roll, and I'm not doing anything to get in the way of that because thankful. Let's see here. Just announced for Columbus. Let's go ahead and put that up real quick. Thank you, Reed. Just announced for Columbus. Spider Nate Webb versus Shotzi Blackheart. These are pre-collective matches. So the question is, what are we getting in Vegas? That's a great one. Welcome back, bud. Everything come out all right?
Hi. Wait, just announced for Columbus. Spider Nate Webb versus Shotzi Blackheart. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, listen, if I'm being selfish as shit this year. We're about to talk about the Big Gay Brunch. There's a match I've been working on that people often ask me, John, and then here's another thing where you go, Effy, chill out. They'll be like, what's your dream match? And I'll usually say, someone you're not going to pay more than 1.5 times what you're paying me, because I'm not getting a rich guy over. And it sounds like a dick thing to say.
No, that's not.
I've been offered a lot of matches where I go, I'm not doing that if I'm not being paid. And then they announce someone, and it's fine. And it's not typically a GCW problem, but it's happened at other places. But I usually am of the belief that as a performer, my job is to whoever I am across from, bring the best out of them, bring the most out of them, have the match that we need to have for that room, And I'm never really selfish. And I think people would be surprised that, like, John, I've never asked for a single match. I swear to you, there's never been one time in my career where I personally have asked for a match. I have been told that I'm the right fit for a lot of matches, and I think I was. And I am not disrespecting the legacy of what I've been able to put out and what matches I've gotten to have. They're crazy. It's incredible. But I've never asked for a match. But this match, and I people can probably figure it out, but I really, really am trying to have this match happen for me because I'm selfish at this year's Big Gay Brunch. And we're going to see it, I think. But I do have to. Here's the fun part of wrestling that nobody ever gets to figure out. Sometimes you got to pull strings to make things happen. And I've pulled some strings before, but I'm going to have to pull some major strings to make this work. Here's the Big Gay Brunch. Originally, Brett thought I was kidding because I said, I think I just tweeted, who's going to host my Big Gay Mania show next year? And I brought it up to him before, and I was like, you going to host it? You going to do it? You going to do it alongside of spring break? And I think he thought I was kidding. And then when I tweeted it, he was like, wait, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I'm dead ass serious. He was like, all right, well, let's do it. And he jumped right on board with it. I was like, what do we do? And I had never booked shows before. And so it was very like daunting to figure out the balance between wanting it to be a dream indie show and wanting it to feature the gay performers. And there was not a legacy behind it at that point. And there were certain things announced for that show that thank God they like didn't happen because those people are like not good people and were going to be involved, but it was going to be easily indie identifiable to have those people be involved. And then COVID shut that whole thing down. It was originally supposed to be in Tampa. Now, one thing people don't know is, well, I have a different match. It's fine. One thing people don't know is someone before the first Big Gay Brunch got canceled was calling in to the venue and to the police department. This is how I know they weren't very smart. They were calling in saying they were going to kill me live. And they were saying they were going to bomb the event, or they were saying they were going to shoot me. And so we were going to end up having to have like all this extra security presence. And to me, that was sort of the I didn't realize how punk rock of a thing this was until the domestic terrorists started telling us they were going to kill me. And it kind of got me fired up, John. And I'm glad the event didn't happen then because of a lot of reasons. But it did put us into this position where, as the collective came around in Indianapolis, that is the first collective GCW Big Gay Brunch was ever on with Effy, I realized, number one, Indianapolis is not as gay of a city as Tampa, which is fine. Number two, this venue is not as gay of a venue as the Tampa Cuban Club where we ended up at. And we had to sort of put on this event post speaking out in the middle of COVID where I'm like, I want to highlight all these people, but I only want to use my friends that I know. And the reason in the first place I wanted to do a gay show is because the gay shows I was involved with were run by sketchy people, were run by people who were not paying people. Even though I would say, I would say, okay, well, I've got to get my travel covered in this. And I was getting paid. I was finding out people were getting paid $5 to wrestle on these shows. I was finding out people were getting, treated poorly by the staff. And it sort of felt like, okay, well, this is the only thing we have here. Somebody's got to do something because this fucking sucks. And luckily, it isn't just me that started running these shows, having Billy Dixon run Paris is Bumping a few times, having a few people pop up. And then, like, as I mentioned last year at Big Gay Brunch, Dark Sheik sort of being the inspiration. We're like, I'm talking about, I've done all these brunches. And Dark Sheik has run a queer-friendly, progressive wrestling company for years and years in Oakland, California, and has continued to rebrand that and restory that and done it, every month for as long as I can remember. It's sort of like, okay, well, if you don't provide, it won't be there. And if you're not willing to provide, why are you expecting from others? And I'm not doing this, as a way of like, oh, well, they'll all book Effy if I book them. It's very much I want to continue providing more options. And I want people to go, okay, at the end of this show where Effy's brought us in to see all these people, where are these people working when they're not at the Big Gay Brunch? And hopefully expand the library of like indies people are checking out, because especially having it at a Mania, there's a lot of people coming into town from other places. And if I can go, oh, you came from Chicago, this person works there too. Oh, you came from Phoenix, this person works there too. Oh, you've never seen this person in LA. It's just like having these sort of events is so necessary to anything growing. And it was like, okay, suck it up, bite the bullet, and do the thing. And, you know, I kept kind of working too much, but also holding the responsibility to do this. And I think at certain times, I can't believe these events have even happened. Like, we did 3 of those in Chicago that were kind of alongside the AEW shows. And like 2 of those were after War Games matches where I was like waking up and doing work the next day after a War Games. And, you know, it was getting to the point where like I would finish the War Games and I hadn't slept and I'd be sitting in a chair, like trying to remember what I needed to do for the event or do something. And people were like, are you okay? Are you all right? Is everything okay? And it's like, this is probably where the Effy Fine thing started. And it's like, maybe I wasn't, or maybe I was, but I feel like if I can do, I'm going to do, even if it's beyond my skill or it's beyond what I should be doing. And I just kept doing them. And every time I would do them, I would go, I don't want to do them anymore. Because it is so emotionally exhausting for me. Like, there are days where I'm like, I wish I was a sociopath, John. I wish I didn't have empathy. Do you know how easy my life would be if I wasn't concerned about the well-being and help and goodness in others? But because of that, it is so exhausting. And I get to the point, I go, I don't ever want to do it again. And I think it was about Philadelphia, like I've mentioned, where I was like, oh, my dumbass really didn't think we were going to elect that motherfucker again. My people are out here suffering worse than ever. Yes, pro wrestling doesn't change the laws. Pro wrestling doesn't change acceptance of the world, but we at least deserve to have a space where we can just be gays and be ourselves and not have to fit into the rest of the world or be a sideshow attraction for them. And if it exhausts me and drains me and pulls every breath out of me, then all right, well, fuck you, do it. Somebody's got to do it. Would you rather lay down and be done with things and sit around and go, oh, well, I'm glad I'm well rested to die? Or would you rather do it and see how far you can get it and see what breaks you? Because there's been moments where I thought I was breaking. I mean, there's like there was a run with one of those Chicago shows where we did Australia and then came back and then went to Japan, or did Japan and came back and went to Australia. And like, it was just such a mess. And then I went and did that show and people were mad about their matches or mad about, and I was like, do you know the life I live for this to exist? And I have to just kind of go, they don't. And that's okay. And you being overwhelmed is not a reason for your brand to not push forward. And I'm trying to find the balance more and more, but to say there's a balance, it would be a lie. But to also say that, like, I don't enjoy the challenge every day would also be a lie. Like, it's exhausting being Effy, but I also can't believe some of the things I've gotten to do, some of the positions I'm in. And I think I have to zoom out a lot of the time and go, oh, look at what the fuck your life is. This is incredible. Like, I was driving home. I wrestled in Atlanta this weekend. Had a great match with the young gun Grayson Pierce, who I think has appeared one time at GCW because he was there helping out in Atlantic City and got a spot, deservedly so. And I went, oh, I can't believe I have to wake up this early to go to my flight to Texas tomorrow. And I just went, shut the fuck up, you fucking loser. People are excited to see you fly to Austin, Texas and wrestle somebody. You're going to get to do a sick show at a barbecue restaurant outside with hundreds of people. You're getting to return to New Texas, you know, where you've won championships before, where you beat Ricky Starks for a championship before. Yes, these things are objectively in the moment stressful. And it's once again that balance of like every day is just a new day and I have to just keep doing it. But also it's like to lie to myself that I shouldn't be a little tired after 10 years straight of nonstop wrestling and traveling. It would be foolish. I have to acknowledge all the parts of it.
So I know you were very public about the fact that you were going through a lot of stress and frustration. I feel like between Effy's Big Gay Brunch 2 and 3 all the way through till last year.
Yeah.
Do you feel that it's a little easier now than it was on, say, like show 4, show 5, when you're still getting your bearings? Or do you feel like it's still a never ending swirl of just,
well, every time it presents sort of a different challenge. And I think, you know, part of it is, with me having to work as much as I'm working and do the show, there's certain aspects of the show that I sort of like, I'm leaving to Brett and I'm leaving to GCW. And I think if, I took a step back from being a constant full-time entertainer and we still were working together and we still were doing this and we still were bringing these shows on, we could do more of them. I could be a little more both hands-on and hands-off with things. But that hasn't really happened yet. And so I've continued wrestling a lot. And now as I'm entering this one, I'm in a strange position, as you can guess, where I am selling a show that is built around me, that originally was a show that I begged to be built around me, ironically, so that when you got to the show, you realized I was just doing something goofy and the rest of the show is where the meat of the wrestling was. On purpose, was willing to just slip on that banana peel because I think it's important to push to other people. But as Effy continued growing as a brand and continued growing as a champion and growing as a wrestler, it became very apparent to me that I was also a draw to bringing people into these shows and I needed to take my role seriously as well. So as it grows now, yes, I could say it's easier because I've gotten used to telling people no, or I've gotten used to having to just put on the show the best way I can. But like also these same things creep up every time. And I care seriously about these shows being good. I care seriously about these shows featuring, the right amount of different people and diversity. But I also have to go, the show's going to be great no matter what. You're one person, do your best and let it ride. And there's some benefit to that. But I think last year was more stressful in some ways, but this year, I'm coming in not as the champion, where I'm defending the championship on this show last year, but I am coming in this year where I've got some issues to work out with my roster. I've got some issues to work out with my friends that are personally involving me. And I don't think I'm going to have spring break off this year like I did last year, which if I ever get to tell the full spring break story, what a world. That's probably one of the most historic wrestling shows of all time. Just not just any one part, but being there backstage and not being on the show. I've been at every single Joey Janela spring break. For the first two, I was present just as a fan. From 3 on, I was present as a part of the show. And 9 last year, I was not. I was there. I was in person. I was backstage. I was around everyone. But this year, I do believe I'm going to return to having a match on spring break. And I don't want to discuss what that is yet, but I've really gotten close with Joey this year. Joey has not been drinking. And I think, as someone who doesn't drink, I'm going on my 13th year of not drinking.
Congrats.
We have bonded. Thank you. We have bonded on a completely different level. And I'm going to be joining Joey on the cruise next year. And I don't like the ocean. But if Joey Janela says, I want you on this cruise, I want you a part of this, I'm not telling Joey Janela no. And if Joey Janela comes to me and says, I want you on spring break this year, that's really exciting to me. But it's also very hard to have a massive marquee match the night before your show when you're also booking on your show enemies of you because it's viable for the fans and it's what they want to see. I don't know. There's just a lot going on this year where I'm seeing the positive and I'm also going, fuck, what is my life going to look like, by the end of April?
Dude, this is insane. You actually just answered 3 questions and you didn't know it. Up to and including, I was going to ask you, do you feel like Big Gay Brunch could be its own working, like JCW and GCW, where it's still supported, it's part of everything? In 5 to 10 years or less, do you find it having its own thing once a month?
Yeah, I think at least moving to quarterly. And I think there's something that I've really been spinning my wheels on in the past few years that is very confusing to me, which is I think when I started, my intention was never to make wrestling fans like gay shit, right? My intention was to bring in wrestling people that didn't know they liked wrestling, that were from the gay communities and from these other places. And, as I'm sitting in this many years deep, where I did an interview Friday with CNN that's going to come out soon. And I don't know in what capacity they're going to use it, but I talked a long time with a CNN reporter about professional wrestling, about a lot of things in wrestling, about gay wrestling, about stuff. And to do these, I've been in Business Insider, I'm about to do CNN. I've done a lot of media. I've done a lot of news. I am easily findable on the internet, but there are so many people in the gay community, in the LGBTQ community, that have no idea we exist. And to be able to kind of rebrand and refocus the show that we're putting on for people that I don't think know that they would like the kind of shows we're putting on or the kind of wrestling we're putting on, I think it's going to take a little more of me being able to be in that marketing position versus like, I'm promoting Big Gay Brunch right now as much as I can. It is frustrating to watch how little other people promote the shows, or even, you know, I'm not saying even if you're there are wrestlers who will promote all of it and they're not even booked on the show, and it's really incredible. But there is sort of this idea now that, oh, well, it's Big Gay Brunch. It's a legacy event. Big Gay Brunch 11. Oh, we're returning to Vegas. And I need people to like slap the ego a little bit and remember Big Gay Brunch is a legacy event when it fills an arena. Where we are right now is sitting on the cusp of growth. And where I stand, I cannot do the amount of marketing and promotion and nonstop. Like, I would love to be on the ground 2 weeks prior in Vegas, handing out flyers at every gay sauna and nightclub and testing facility and queer thrift store, to let people know that for $35, you can come see the craziest gay show of your life. There are people who've been coming to Big Gay Brunch for years, and that's incredible in itself. But I know in a town as big and diverse as Las Vegas that we're just advertising wrestling to wrestling fans, when the fact is I can find another 500 homosexuals in Las Vegas that would kill and have the time of their life at a Big Gay Brunch that do not know we exist. And I'm trying to find that balance to expand us past that audience, because I think as I am in wrestling the way I'm in wrestling now, I am in a prison of live performance, which I love. John, I love being a live performer. It is so much out of my spirit, and I can't speak for everyone, to like the LA show, you know, we can discuss. We've been real positive on Effy. Don't forget, I'm here to be raw and honest with you. There's some things people are probably wondering. You know, is Effy bad? Is Effy this? And we can get to that.
Yes.
But where it stands now, it's like every night that I leave my house at 4 a.m. and get on the flights and get to the shows and perform the match and finally get to the hotel at 2 a.m. and finally get home on Monday or whatever time it is, that it is exhausting in a way that I know is pulling from other aspects of where I should be putting effort in my career. And I don't want to stop performing live that much, but I also want to maximize what I'm able to do with this Big Gay Brunch thing, because I think GCW has room for expansion. I think Big Gay Brunch has massive room for expansion. And the more I bring this up and the more I have tried to kind of skirt our hand across the aisle to other forms of entertainment and bring them in and work on bigger guests and work on people, you know, from outside our community, whether it be from drag or music or comedy, having someone like Rekno, who is a massive worldwide DJ, having her do an entrance at one of the Big Gay Brunches in Chicago, the people there probably didn't know exactly what was going on, but to have that footage where like Rekno sells out Red Rocks and Rekno sells out tours doing DJ stuff and was in Atlanta and was like, do you want to come to the show? And I was like, I'm on a show that day with 2,000 people at the Eastern. Having these people come in, they finally look around and they go, number one, we didn't know this existed. Number two, this is crazy that you're out here doing this all the time. And number three, Effy, don't you feel dumb that you aren't expanding this more to the world? And it's like, yes, but I'm out here fucking wrestling 100 times a year. I need more people who are willing to go, hey, we are going to put a retweet on that. And we are going to put this on our page. And we are going to share this because we are putting so much effort into this happening. And I want to be in front of as many people as possible. And I will do as much as I can. But to act like we are somehow at our peak or at some legacy moment, or that, oh, being involved in the show, what an honor. I can't believe how many people will be there. Well, they're not going to fucking be there if we don't tell anybody about the show, John. And there was a year, 2 years ago where I was like, I'm going to let other people do press for the brunch. I'm fucking tired. And I woke up and I realized, no offense to anyone, I was the only one doing fucking press for my show. And I get it's called Effy's Big Gay Brunch and I'm responsible for doing a lot of press. But my fucking God, y'all, I'm glad you're honored to be a part. I'm glad you want to be here. We need all hands on deck at all times. This happens when this happens. You want me to have more money to pay people at the shows? There was a Chicago show, John, where I made more the night before Wrestling Violence is Forever than I did on the show. And that includes me and Brett together. We made so little on that show because we put everything into it to make it happen. And we were, finding ourselves in a position where when we were the only ones advertising, it didn't work out as well as we wanted it to. And I want everyone paid fairly. I want everyone highlighted to the best of their ability. I think I'm one of the few bookers besides Brett that knows how to put people in the right position. Where, like, have you ever been watching a wrestling show and you're like, that person's not being booked correctly? It's very easy to identify that. And so sometimes at Big Gay Brunch, these people are being booked in a position correctly for the first time in their careers, John.
Yeah.
And I need them to see that and go, I should be all hands on deck. I should put a fucking promo out I should retweet everything that comes across me.
Promos.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Well, John, what is promo short for? Promotional material. Just
anytime.
Put everything out there.
And
they go, Effy, you've done so much. You've done so much. Darling, I'm on a constant promo tour. I've been running for election for 12 fucking years, John. And there's no election. But it's what it takes to continue being in this position. I'm not sitting in a throne, John. I am out here busting my ass, and you see that. But I need these other kids to understand that this is a fucking group project every night of the week. And if you want to be a part of the group, I better see some heels on the pavement making some shit happen, because none of this shit is promised. And I sound crazy.
No, you're good. That's what it's all about here. I want to talk about this. Do you think Big Gay Brunch should have its own championship down the road?
Yes, I do. But I think it should also be something that is rarely defended at Big Gay Brunch. Or if you look at the amount of times it's defended at Big Gay Brunch, it is defended constantly all year at all these places. And I also don't want it to be something with my name on it. I mean, the biggest problem now is that, like, it being called Effy's Big Gay Brunch at this stage in my career is a blessing and a curse. Okay. People have made up their mind on Effy in a lot of cases. And I still get a lot of people who come to Effy. They come up to Effy, and it's my favorite thing to hear, which is, I used to think you were a piece of shit. I used to not like you. I used to think you were a loudmouth. I only saw you on the internet. And then I finally got in the room with you and I saw you perform and I understood it. And I stand by the promise that if you got in the room with Effy, you would get it better than if you didn't. I'm not saying you'd be sold on it immediately the whole way, but I think you would get in there and you would go, I kind of see what's going on here. I kind of get it better, and I see it better as a live performance. But that, to me, is a risk to stand on just being, oh, well, they're going to love it if they get in the room with you and are a live performer. Now, I'm hoping to get people to come to a show to see all of these talents. I mean, the talents you listed at the beginning of the show that we've announced so far, insane. I don't want Effy's name being on this thing to be something that now is a detractor. And does that mean I'm going to shut my mouth? No, I can't do it. I've never learned how to do it, and I'm sorry. And thank God Brett Lauderdale looks at me and goes, listen, your words are your own. Shut the fuck up sometimes, but also, like, I'm not telling you what to say. It's been an absolute blessing to be booked by GCW as long as I have, as consistently as I have. I think I've provided to GCW what they have provided. I think there's a great symbiotic relationship that Effy and GCW have had, that they're going to continue to have, that this show has created and had. But I also think people aren't wrong if they don't like Effy, and I'm not going to convince them otherwise. People aren't wrong if they disagree with what I'm saying. If your feelings were hurt by Effy, you're probably in the right. Even though, as you've probably figured out, John, as soon as I say something, it's just because I had to get it out of my brain. I'm not going to sit on it. I don't care anymore. Even the thing with, like, Gabe Sapolsky, where, like, he was around doing the WWE ID stuff, and we've had our issues in the past. I've said my things in the past, and I do want to say, number one, when I cut that promo, I was not allowed to smoke weed. Number two, and this is the big thing.
It's true.
This is huge, son, and hear me out. If you survived this long in wrestling, as long as Gabe Sapolsky has, as long as Tony Khan has, as long as Triple H has, as long now as Billy Corgan has, I can have any thought I want to have about you, but I also am going to say, wow, because it is not a business that is easy to continue showing up in when people are against your ideas or people don't believe in what you're doing. Or if I disagree with what you're doing, what matters is that you actually stick around and keep doing it. So anything I can say about, I disagree with this, I agree with that, or if they disagree with me or agree with that, Bubba, we're cockroaches, baby. And that's a good and a bad thing. If you've survived this long, you're doing something correct in wrestling, and we can disagree on things and still both exist in wrestling. But I also don't ever want talent to miss out on opportunities because they were next to my name, miss out on opportunities because they were announced on my show or were near me. And I can objectively point to a lot of positions where people who are not me were hurt by me existing. And that's never what I wanted. If you want to say, fuck you, Effy, you can't be a part of our club, we don't like what you said, that's fine. But the second you're doing it to other people around me, I do have to kind of watch myself and watch my expectation. I wish the shows were just called Wrestling is Gay or Big Gay Brunch. But with my name being involved in them now, I am now trying to find that new balance between explaining myself and appearing, as sane as possible, and also just being fucking Effy, which is what works. I'm unpredictable. I'm a lot. It sells. It's great. And kind of reminding people, number one, if you're going to stand next to me, you know the fucking consequences of what's going to happen. But also, there shouldn't be as many consequences if you stand next to me, and I want to be mindful of that. I never want to bend my knee. I don't want to censor myself, but I am choosing when and what to say and do, because I want to make sure that at its core, I'm uplifting gay wrestling. I'm uplifting LGBTQ people. I'm uplifting younger talent, whether they're LGBTQ or not. Every show I go on now, people come up to me and are backstage even so excited to meet me, are thanking me for stuff, that I can't even believe. And I take it very, very, very seriously. But I also have to continue going. It is such an honor to be this to these people. Mm-hmm. But also, fuck you, I'm Effy, and I'm going to keep being Effy because that's what the world needs me to be. If the second I'm just like a Mother Teresa Buddha rub the belly figure to everyone, and we miss how we got here in the first place, which was because everyone who told me no, I said, go fuck yourself, and then it worked, which has to be frustrating. I just want to keep building this legacy up so that when I am away from it and when I'm gone and I joke, oh, we'll have a ladder match to see who owns brunch next. But I want there to be a time where, it doesn't require my name being on a show to have a show like this. But where we stand now, Effy will still be there. And I'm still going to main event my own fucking show Saturday morning in Vegas.
As I said before, I have some friends that will go to these way more than me. And they always say on something like this, that Effy's Big Gay Brunch can almost be an exhale. And to people who always feel like they're different from the crowd, they feel like it's nice to sit down and everyone has had darn near the same struggles. They're in the same boat. They've had the same feelings. And it's nice to look to the left of you, to the right of you, in front of you, and behind you. And everybody gets it.
Yes.
I want you to know that also. I was told from my buddy, he's like, listen, it's the exhale. And it's nice to just sit down and go, this is my church.
I'm in a strange position right now that I'm just going to let people in on. The last 2 times before I just saw my mom pretty recently. I saw my grandma pretty recently. She lives about 2 hours from me. I don't currently have a car living in Atlanta because I don't need one. I can take public transportation. I have my groceries delivered. I go to the airport. It's fine. But I don't go see my mother as often as I should. I think we all probably should try our best more. She saw me in England at Progress and then came to Big Gay Brunch in Vegas. And those were the last 2 times I had seen her before I went to see her in South Carolina. And this was the first time my mother had come to a Big Gay Brunch. And she had a lot of questions, but seeing her, she's come to my matches forever. And is the kind of mom who was like, oh, well, I'm a bad fan, so I cheer for you if you're bad or if you're good. And also had questions like, did you readjust your whole body so that your head could hit a chair worse? And I had to tell her, yes, that's true. She has now actually finished a book about her experiences with me, and they kind of lead up to that brunch, I believe. And I have hesitated on reading it because it is very odd to be in the position I'm in and be at one of those shows and then sort of have all the barriers of your world broken, where, your mom is getting to see you not only in this position where she is dangerously scared of what you are doing, but she's also doing the same thing where she's looking around the room going, holy shit, the kid did it. The kid built this thing.
Yeah.
It is not built on hate or aggression. It has aggression and it has wrestling and it has the spirit of competition, but that I've been able to create a world where everyone can come in as they are, everyone can come in and be as strange or weird. And on top of just being the sort of acceptance that wrestling has to begin with, where we will, as wrestling fans, sort of give anything that comes through that curtain somewhat of a chance, right? To then see that go even further with the expansion of what our audiences can take in, and then see the expansion of our audience get to take in something where they're going, holy shit, there's no way this should even exist in this world. I think it's like it's kind of a crazy. I don't ever think of myself really as like a sort of faith leader by any means, but to be reminded by her that there is something sort of like spiritual in the room at a brunch, and it just being a wrestling show, but it kind of feeling like more than that, and especially after the week of exhaustion, I don't know. There's always these moments in the brunch where whatever's going on, I kind of end up cutting a promo, and it's not anything I've ever prepared ahead, but I think like I just have to be in whatever that room is to know what I need to say, and to have that kind of energy available to use when you need to use it is a crazy thing to be a part of and have your name on the screen when you're looking around going, what am I doing? And trying to be as present as possible, obviously.
We have people asking, is your mom's book for sale?
It is not yet. I think this is, she has just kind of finished this thing, and I'm in the process of working on a book as well. And it's definitely, you know, she's kind of got, this is from her perspective, and I think it's got me nervous to read just because, you know, it's,
of course. Yeah.
As my dad said, you shouldn't be alive, buddy. As my dad has reminded me often, I think people forget, you know, I came into wrestling at the age of 23. I came into wrestling after going to rehab. I came into wrestling after a long career of other sort of public facing trials and errors. And I think I've always taken big swings, and looking now as a 35-year-old who has made this, you know, the majority of their adult life so far, I'm a little nervous to read into it, but I'm kind of ready to see how it unleashes what I've got to say to the world next.
I think you'll have a wonderful perspective, and you know how moms are.
I love them. I love them.
And please go see her. I
am. My grandma too. You know, what's funny is my grandma's 87. My great grandmother lived to be 103. And my mom was like, well, you know, she's doing her best. And I said, Mom, she's not doing her best. This is one of the healthiest women I've ever seen. She had a back surgery like 3 months ago. And she's like, I don't need the walker anymore. You're my walker. And I'm going, Mom, I think all of y'all are going to live a very long time. But I'm hoping that I get to be an old man at the autograph conventions and bring my even older woman mom with me to the shows.
Now, is she the one that makes that the dish with like the meat and the I'm trying to think of the name of the recipe.
The Mexican steak?
Yeah. Is she the one that does that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We love her. We love her.
I don't know how I had a memory for that shit. I can't tell you what I ate yesterday, but I do remember you mentioning that one.
I always, listen, I'm an eater, bud. I love food.
Celebrate Wrestling says brunch is the most freeing and deeply uplifting wrestling show that there is. The only atmosphere in wrestling even comparable is Hood Slam.
I love Hood Slam, but I often feel like I look to Sheik and I'm so inspired by how weird they get up there, how weird Hood Slam can get. And it's like, there are times when Big Gay Brunch has gotten weird. And then there are times where like, I feel, and especially while I was doing the GCW title run, I think there's a certain air of seriousness that comes with that championship, even though it's an outlaw belt. I take great pride in the fact that like, I defended it on multiple continents and countries and states and companies and places. And even though Effy is known for a lot of different, things in wrestling, and, if you Google me, it'll probably be something controversial, building that legacy where I can go, if they go back and watch these matches, these are championship matches that I'm having with a very diverse group of people. And I really I think I took that seriousness to heart in a way that now I am sort of able to, as Peter put it at the beginning of the year, the moments that you embrace the absurdity that originally made you fall in love with wrestling are the moments that are going to count biggest. And Every time I've had fun in a match this year, it's gone exceedingly well. Every time I've trusted my gut to do something weird, it's gone exceedingly well. Every time the stakes have gotten serious and I've had to really deal with some shit, it has gone extremely poorly for me, John. And so it's very hard to be in these situations and to also sit here and go, everybody's trying to come get fucking serious with me, and I need them to chill because I can't. Yeah. It's not good for me to have more gashes in my head.
Or in the back. Or in the legs.
Yeah. Yeah. Anywhere. Anywhere. I gotta be healthy right now.
2 very quick questions so we can, and then we can move on from Big Gay Brunch because we're doing good. That's for sure. Amy Rose asks, who's your favorite person on the Big Gay Brunch announce team?
Oh my gosh. I love you, Amy Rose. Here's the thing about the Big Gay Brunch announce team, and let me be clear. There's a reason the women are in charge of the Big Gay Brunch announce team. Okay. I love having too many announcers. Here's one thing I've learned too. I do this thing where I'll just go, yeah. And then what I find out is that the people I just kind of to have incredible skill, have incredible magic to them. Having Amy Rose on the announce team. Amy Rose managed me back in 2018 in North Carolina at PWX. Amy Rose was managing me at Fest at certain points, Fest Wrestling. Amy Rose trained under the tutelage of the Dudleys down there in Florida. And Amy Rose now, a part of the Big Gay Brunch announce team. I think I'm going to have her doing even more stuff this year. I'm hoping to add more to the backstage announcing stuff. What I have found is if you look at someone, and this goes for wrestling and it really goes for, any kind of business. If you find someone and you maybe don't have a role for them right away, but they have a great amount of skill and tenacity and fervor and want and go about them, you should just tell them yes and see what happens. I think if you look at the history of Big Gay Brunch, there's a lot of cases of me going, you coming to me and telling me that you should be involved with this event already sets me up to think that you're right to be involved in this event. And luckily, throughout the years, we've gotten so many good people that have come along, but I'm also finding like seeing Amy Rose in a position where I can kind of put her in any role and it's great. But I do want to speak to the fact that things did, I don't know if you noticed, get a little tense with me and Amy Rose in Philadelphia. When I was dealing with Charles Mason, I did get bit that night on the face. I've had a lot of traumatic facial and head injuries. And, I don't want to speak for Amy Rose, but I want to say, I think she gets it, and I think she's fine, and she's still booked for brunch, and we talked after, and sometimes you just are grabbing people a little bit, and I think, we should honor and respect all HR positions, and we should treat everyone with dignity, but how do I put this correctly? If I'm not allowed to choke you on my own show, what the fuck are we doing? Like a little choking, it's not like it's going to kill you. And also, y'all know where the door is, but I want your skill on the show. I apologize for getting a little heated, but it's also pro wrestling. And listen, is Pero still going to come to brunch? I don't know. I'm going to find out. But if he does, I'm going to have Baby Bop beat his ass again. And does that, is that disrespectful? I don't know. But I'm willing to risk it. And I'm willing to risk it every time where, you know what? It's kind of fun showing up for your job, not knowing if you're going to get killed. All right? And if you're an assassin out there, I'm asking for another 2 years. I got some really cool shit lined up. Give me another 2 years. Let's renegotiate the contract, but I need it at least until 2028. Got some cool stuff coming up. Please don't kill me yet, but I like the threat of thinking, I could be killed. And I think, listen, I'm not saying it's just me that can choke. I'm saying y'all can choke me too. It's fine. You're at brunch. Come on through. Choke me.
Reed Harris Cooper is horn dogging. He said that you can still choke him, Effy, if you want to.
Well, let me just say this. I just saw Pillion last night, and I want to say you got to sleep on the rug.
You heard it here first. Now, I want to lighten it up real quick. Are you more of a breakfast brunch guy or a lunch brunch guy?
This is personally, I end up eating a lot of breakfast brunches. But in the grand tradition of gayness, most of my girls don't go to brunch in Atlanta until 12 or 1. And that brunch usually goes until about 5 or 6 p.m. So I know I'm asking a lot of homosexuals to come to morning shows like that. But when I'm on the road personally, when me and Allie used to be on the road a lot more, it was always imperative that right when we land, we go get food because we don't know when it's going to happen the rest of the day.
All right. So I can't say that I've ever been to an official gay brunch. Effy, let's pretend. Let's pretend
Okay.
you made it to the restaurant first. I'm going to be a couple minutes late. Could you order for me? What do you think would be great for Big John on his
well,
brunch?
The fun with brunch is that everyone's going to get all over everything. And so typically, let's pretend I'm not a teetotaler at this point because I used to go to a lot of, they found out I was so good at drinking that they had to stop me. They're going to offer you a few things, but what you really need to do is just get the endless mimosas. They will bring them in buckets. You can also get bellinis, but I think the peach is a little too, if you're going to get a bellini, just do a bellini with a little peach in the orange juice and the rest champagne. I'm going to get a few Benedicts for the table. Because the good thing about a Benedict is it's both sides of an English muffin, so you get both parts of it. And the toppings are always different, and you got different styles. So everybody can get a little bite of a Benedict. But then you got to start adding some weird stuff to the table. We got to get some chicken and waffles. That's an Atlanta tradition. But I think we also got to get one of those giant Bloody Marys with the crab claw leg in it, with a big piece of bacon. And if you don't drink vodka, that's fine, because we can have virgin Bloody Marys and make them really spicy so it still feels like we're getting drunk. And then by about hour 3, we're going to start ordering Denny's type foods to the table. So just eggs and bacons and pancakes and all those sorts of things. And then at a certain point, you got to go to the ATM because we got to get cash because it's a drag brunch. Because I'm not going to a brunch without a drag queen, and they're performing and they're killing it. And we're probably tanked at this point in the day. I think, listen, it's a show up and show off kind of event. And it's also in gay culture, it's a continuation of the night before in a lot of ways. So, it's show up as you are. Of course, you're a few minutes late. And of course, we expanded the table for 10 because we made a reservation for 6, but we knew some people were going to be showing up. There's just a sloppy funness to brunch. And a lot of people often ask, like, oh, well, are you sure of the food? And let me just be clear, y'all. There's enough food in Vegas. I know it's called a brunch.
Yeah.
In the past, we've done food. I just want to be clear. Every time we've served food, it has been to absolutely zero profitability. It has not been anything but an additional burden to serve food. And I, have loved the people that have helped us out along the way, but also like, girl, it's Vegas. Go pick up your breakfast and come buy some merch and come hang out. There's already drinks at the venue. You can drink there. But I at this point in the current state, I'm not providing breakfast. Hopefully we can open that again. I'm not opposed to it, but this Big Gay Brunch is a wrestling show, and y'all need to show up with some. I'm not going to be mad if you show up with McMuffins in your pocket. Just bring me one.
Little crackers and cheese.
Yeah, get a little snack.
Okay, so I thought originally like a gay brunch may very well be like the American version of an English tea time. You're saying there's probably more drinking and probably more eating.
I'm saying, imagine what you think goes on at 2:30 a.m. at a gay nightclub, but it's in the middle of a day at a restaurant. Like I don't know how much it is. They had that whole city, Sodom and Gomorrah, and they turned that woman to salt because she kept looking at it. Woo! You got to be careful looking at it. Gay brunches are out of control. I want to bring, obviously, the reverence and excitement of gay stuff to it. But let me tell you what happens at gay brunch is you hook up in the bathroom and everybody's hammered and the drag queen fights a woman. I want that energy at the show, too. And I think
you want the rowdy.
I don't want to be the kind of gay that asks for permission to exist anymore. I want to be the kind of gay that has to say sorry because I fucked your day up, but you're going to have to deal with it anyway. We're here and we're loud.
Reed Harris Cooper said trying to figure out where to get food before the brunch to actually bring brunch to people, setting it up in that spare front row. He said he's basically saying it is a lot. We didn't get too deep into it.
Guy Fieri's got a Flavortown restaurant. I want Guy Fieri to bring the Flavortown to Big Gay Brunch. If I can get Guy Fieri, who I don't know if you know this, did 100 gay weddings at once.
What?
He officiated 100 gay weddings at once. The most gay weddings ever officiated at once. If we can get Guy Fieri in there, I'm willing to eat donkey sauce off him, however he wants me to.
I got some news for you. I am a registered minister.
Whoa!
I can do weddings.
I love that.
I'd have to get a license for the state of Nevada to do everything completely. But yeah, that's $5 around the side of the building.
Yeah, that's an easy one. The expensive part is your Elvis costume.
Well, I have to get the stitching let out a little bit in that.
No, 72 Elvis was 200 to 300 pounds more than you've ever weighed.
That's true. That's true.
Let's be real.
A little fun thing. Everybody has a chance. Go watch whatever's going on with the Horseshoe on YouTube. There are a bunch of places to eat, lesser expensive and more expensive. So you'll have those options there. Also, on that corner is where Tupac got shot.
Whoa!
So if you want a little hip hop history, right there on Koval is the corner where Tupac was shot.
Trader Vic's from there? Isn't there a Trader Vic's pretty close to there?
That's where I couldn't tell you.
I think there's a Trader Vic's overlooking the Bellagio fountain that's right near there, but maybe it's not anymore. But I'll tell you what, when I was 17 and had a fake ID and went to Vegas for the first time in my life in 2007, and I raised enough money for it by cleaning an old man's garage, and he roofied me, but I escaped. I went to that Trader Vic's and I got so drunk on those punch bowls. Let me see where this one is. Vegas Strip. I'm looking this up right now because this is.
No, you're good. We got time. We're chilling.
This Trader Vic's. No, did they close it? Oh my gosh, they closed it and went bankrupt, owing back $15 million. I got so hammered at this Trader Vic's. Yeah, it used to be right across from the. It used to be directly across from the Bellagio, where Horseshoes is now.
Yeah.
Where did you go? Hold up. Where did you go?
I see you, but you're frozen right now. I can hear you perfectly, so you're good.
I gotta find what tab you just went into. Oh no. Where's the tab? Yell again?
Yes, sir.
Oh my god.
Tab. You're good. You're good. Take your time.
Well, it's
if not, I'll re-invite you, and then you can always jump back in.
Well, I think I just went away from the thing by Google searching. Am I back in it? No. Okay, wait. No. Hold up. What is that? Wait, is that you? Nope.
Let's see. Can you hear me? No.
No, I hear you.
You have a lot of tabs.
What?
You have a lot of tabs open, huh?
Can you see that?
I cannot see a darn thing. Your screen though is a picture of you. It just froze there, so you're good. I mean, technically that's a good picture.
This is crazy. I can't even find where you went to.
Oh no. Do you want to just try to exit and re-enter?
Oh my god, I found it.
There you are.
That's incredible.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Oh, I do have a lot of tabs open. Yeah.
All right. So we went through Big Gay Brunch. We really went through Big Gay Brunch. Do you need a couple minutes break, or are you good to keep rolling? I know it's late on your end.
Let's roll.
All right, rock and roll. Let's talk about the drama here.
All right.
So I'd love to mention this. You're a college-educated man that has a PR degree with a focus in crisis communication.
Correct.
Basically, when a company or an individual makes a mistake in public, you know how to smooth that out. So this next series of questions will hopefully clear up any fan concerns regarding your current situation with your circle at GCW. So let's go back to the beginning. Hammerstein 2025, your three-way match against Allie and Mance for the GCW World Championship. That night, your best friend Allie gets injured. The show comes to a halt as you watched her stretchered out of the building. You weren't on best terms professionally at the time, but some things are more important than fighting. When the dust settled, you became the new GCW World Champion, and you and I haven't spoken on the air since that time. Can you maybe just catch us up? This is more serious, Effy, for a moment. Can you just catch us up on what the hell is going on? Because she was on the floor. You're right there beside her. Then you have to win a championship to a room of people that most of them had to leave because of the bus. I'm just telling you, I mean, I saw Cole come out. He held his brass ring up. There was no reaction because the people were just done. I just felt so terrible for you and for Cole because I felt like the crowd just wasn't. The crowd was tired, you know, and
they've seen a lot of things.
And well, that's the thing is poor Allie. I mean, that really takes the air out of a room because it's entertainment until something serious really happens. And she also holds a lot of the hearts of GCW fans. Yeah. So, I mean, that's your friend down there. I mean, step away from the story. What are you thinking? What's going on, man?
Okay, so at that moment, I'd never heard that noise before out of Ali, and that, concerned me deeply. I realized shit was fucked, like really fucked. Like, okay, hold up, here we go. You have to make some changes on the fly, but like, and you're gonna say I'm being sorry here, but I'm just being real. If you go back and watch the Big Gay Brunch in Tampa that happened, where we fought MXM, where my head is fucking stapled together by Mance Warner, I like begged her at the end of that show, in the most polite terms, to fuck off, right? She has dreams of working for a bigger company, working for a television company, working under a contract for someone that can just tell her what her 6-minute match is or whatever. And I don't. And I respect her so much as a friend, as a person, that I was trying politely to be like, fucking please stop standing next to me. As long as you're standing next to EFFY, either fuck it or fighting you, and your tag team butt pussy, like they're not going to take you seriously. And I don't need them to take me seriously. I take myself seriously. I don't take a lot of anyone else seriously, which is why they think I'm a comedian. But I'm begging her to do this. And then obviously there's a lot of the story that I don't know if will ever get told, but Ali had disappeared for a while from GCW after the Japan tour. There were some issues that she had that she wanted to deal with. She then kind of comes back into the fold and has issue with me. We have issue together. I have issues with Mance. Whatever. It ends with me winning that championship. She has a broken leg. At some point, I'm thinking, okay, well, God has interfered and it's horrible, but look at the way the community took care of her. I think at that point, I wish it hadn't been because of a broken leg, but I think Ali needed a break. I think Ali needed to get off the road. I think Effy probably needed to get off the road and needed a break. But I was saying, okay, well, this is a struggle for her to get back to, but she has a moment of being able to reassess her career, reassess her things. Maybe since she didn't listen to me before, and since she didn't listen to me now, maybe when she comes back from this injury, she will focus somewhere else. And if you remember, she came back from her injury, not at GCW, but at House of Glory. And I said, this is awesome. So I'm really proud of you. She came back at Beyond. This is awesome. I'm really proud of you. She's coming back at these places, at First Wrestling, at Winnipeg Pro Wrestling. And I'm going, okay, good. Maybe she's figuring it out, because I do think the GCW fans love Ali. I also think if Ali means what she fucking says and she thinks she should be doing some other things, that if you're at GCW, you are going to live in the shadow of Effy. I'm sorry, you are. As Ali, you have in the past been a part of storylines with me, and I appreciate all of your help with Mance Warner. I appreciate all of your help as a tag team. I appreciate all the moments we've had together. But I understand that you are in the shadow of Effy. I mean, Manders got up frustrated for the same reasons and the same problems. You're in the shadow of Effy, and we can discuss the semantics in a minute, but I want to make the larger point here to say that you breaking your leg was great, because now you are entering on a new place. And then what happens, John, is she's then magnetized back to being around Effy. And I maybe had a bit of a reaction to seeing Atticus attack her in the way that he would attack me. I'm not saying Ali is by any means frail, but I've never broken my leg. Seeing him attack her leg with a chair, it does have me worried a little bit. And I just, like, this is going to sound fucked up, but if Ali's the GCW champion, she's never going anywhere else, okay? So I think I'm actually, whether that's the intention or not, I did want to save your life throwing in the towel for you in Los Angeles. Whether that's the intention or not, you becoming the GCW champion is another nail in the coffin of you ending up next to Effy for the rest of your life. And what a lavender marriage that would be. What a fucking magical thing that would be. Yeah, Manders is great and very popular overseas when he's not around Effy, when he's not stuck with Effy. And I am not going to be ashamed for a vortex being created around me that pulls you into it. I am going to acknowledge it, and I'm going to tell you to figure your own shit out and go do what you need to do. But to be in my vortex constantly and then complain that you're in my vortex and then want to be even further in my vortex and be surprised when I say get the fuck out of my vortex for your own safety, you think I'm the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy. All right? Number one, he was going to take your fucking life. He's crazy. He's nuts. I don't care what you say. I don't care, what you think about it, Kogar. He's fucking nuts. Number two, you don't want to be here. You don't need to be here. And I need you to put in the towel, stop risking your life again. What are you going to let him break your leg and be out another 9 months? You're going to do another GoFundMe? You get about one strong GoFundMe in your career and then you're fucking out. So I need you to stay healthy right now, Allison. And she takes it the wrong way. And then she wants to get mad that I pulled a screwdriver on Manders. Well, what did Manders do, dude? On a Sunday in Phoenix? You know, watch the match. I'm having the time of my life. I'm respectfully meeting him in competition, and whatever fucking thing he's holding on his shoulder, he wants to come in the ring and have this moment. I mean, from the first fucking moment of the match, the Christopher Nowinski decided my fucking face so hard that I was rattled. What the fuck else am I going to do? I'm going to come at you. I'm going to throw a chair at you. I'm going to treat you the way you've treated every other opponent I've ever seen you in the ring with. And I'm going to come at you like an individual. And then what do? You split my fucking head open. Of course I'm going to get a screwdriver. I know it works. I've watched it work. To say that I'm some morally indefensible person because one time I use a screwdriver because I've seen Mance use it, that Allie needs to come hop into the ring, have the mats thrown out again and handle it. Allie didn't even need to be there. She should have gone home. I don't even know how she ended up in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm standing there going, not only is my dumbass friend Manders trying to fucking kill me, and I have to get back. I'm covered in blood getting the screwdriver. This isn't me just going, and you now want to enter, have Manders pull you off me after you attack me, and then try to attack me again. And I'm the one that they're going, are you fine? Are you fine? Are you fine? Are you fine? What the fuck else am I supposed to be? I'm having to live through this shit. All right? There's no one left. There's no one left, by the way. There's no SGC. They're all gone. There's no Bussy. They're all gone. There's no Cole Radrick. Where's Cole Radrick?
I'm missing.
Nobody's here for me. Jordan and Alec, always on my side. Gone. So, you know, is Effy fine? Yeah, Effy's fucking fine. But Effy's also kind of fucking sick of being out here and having to do this shit and having to explain himself to people who are like, well, you were mean to me one time. And it's like, nah, dog, I've been Effy, okay? And I'm sorry to be objective about it, but don't fucking forget how big and expansive this is. It's not Allie's Big Gay Brunch. It's not Manders' Big Gay Brunch. And I'm glad that y'all are frustrated at having to stand in the shadow. I'm glad you're frustrated that it's annoying to stand behind Effy. But go do your own thing then. Because where Effy stands, there's going to be a big fucking shadow. And y'all have enjoyed the ride so far, tagging up with Effy with silly names, tagging up with Effy and winning belts, tagging up with Effy and whooping ass all over the town. But all of a sudden, when the spotlight is back on Effy, where it's going to be, because that's what happens every time, all of a sudden I'm the bad guy for defending my territory or dealing with the situation as it comes up. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that y'all don't like being around Effy. And it should be treated as a privilege, but also you're not going to get what you want standing next to me. It's going to feel good, man. It's like doing drugs, man. You stand next to Effy and everybody cheers and everybody's excited and you get to be a part of the storyline and you get to be a part of the show and you're booked every time. But guess what? If your issue with that is that you're going to be playing second fiddle and you have a problem with that, grow the fuck up, because everyone plays second fiddle to Effy. And I'm sorry, that's objective. When I walk in the room, you feel me walk in the goddamn room. And if you want to be a part of that, great. But if you don't, move the fuck out of my way and go do what you need to do. And if you're not going to move on your own and you're going to stand there and complain and get involved with the business still, then I'll put you out on your ass on my own. And I will love you respectfully the whole time I'm doing it. But I will send you on your fucking way.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm fucking fine, John.
I get it. So there's one piece of this we have not talked about, and this is more towards the beginning here. Once Allie got out of the way, a 307-day tear as the GCW World Champion until that #1 contenders match between Mason and Atticus. You're a fighting champion, so you decided you're going to get into that match. You know, unfortunately, you lost that title that night. That's also the night you kind of snapped on poor Amy Rose, you know, another friend of yours. That's when Allie kind of stepped in, tried to stabilize the situation. We'll say you both got into it. Do you feel maybe these heavy emotions were begun with that loss there of the belt?
I think I've been trying to be a polite version of myself while being that champion and feeling like I have to meet some sort of expectation of what that championship looks like. And also, like, I'm sorry, that mall show was sorely lacking Effy, and I can't just stand back there with the belt and go, oh, well, let me wait for one of these two little miscreants to see who's going to be the winner and beat them up after they're done. No, I'm sitting back there going, no, this makes me look like an absolute chud if I wait around for someone to get beat up and then go pick up their carcass. And some people are going, oh, Effy went too far ahead. Effy went too quick. Effy's overzealous. Yeah, I have to be overzealous. I'm the fucking world champion of Game Changer Wrestling, which is called that. We're literally fucking game changers. I have to go out there and at least try. And yeah, I think there's a fucking magical shade of gray because I did try some fucked up shit. And I think Atticus Cogar's tried some fucked up shit. The man's made me bleed from my face. The man has thrown me under the bus IRL in many occasions before. And, you know, seeing him with the championship now, good luck to you. Great job. I'll be back eventually, and I'm trying to give plenty of people a chance to get in there, and I'm trying to wait in line. And then to see Charles Mason out there, and he's trying to choke people with wires. Yeah, I have to get a little down and dirty with these motherfuckers because that's what they do. There is no benefit to me being Superman and saying, oh, it's time for truth and justice, and not getting the fucking job done. And I didn't get the job done that night, but it woke me up to going, oh, you don't have to be anyone but yourself, and you should have remembered that when you were the champion, and you should have taken advantages because, oh, I have to be a strong fighting champion and go out here, loses you the belt. Oh, I have to, you know, honor the loss when I get beat by a fucking cheater who bites my face. No, I don't. I can get frustrated, and if I get frustrated and it looks bad in front of one of my friends, then it's too bad you had to witness that. I'm a real fucking human being, and I spend too much of my life under this fucking microscope of wrestling to not have these moments and go, all right, listen, it speaks for itself in the past. I get a few moments of crash out because I've given you everything. I've given you everything. I've given everyone else everything. And if I, as a non-champion now, losing that belt and going on my run, I don't have to worry about losing anything anymore. And so, yes, I'm going to go and push the limits even further than I did before because now I'm going, oh, there's no expectation to rise up to. And the people who are looking at you going, why are you being like this, Effy, are the same people who don't need to be around me at all. So if they think I'm not fine, it's because I'm pushing them away and getting them out of the fucking bird's nest because I'm tired of mother birding every single person in the business as long as I've been in it and then being treated like I'm some sort of lesser indie trash person because I don't have higher dreams of sucking someone else's dick for a contract. And if that's your dream, great. But I'm sorry, I'm correct. And if you want to go do that, go do that. But don't fucking stand next to me and complain about my behavior because it's reflective of you in some way because you have chosen to stand around me longer.
It sounds like you've peeled back some layers and some people just don't like the way the vegetable has been peeled.
Yeah. And it's just like, I'm not, people are always like, oh, your character's so great, Effy. Y'all, I do this too much. What I am is what I am in its rawest form. And if they want to hire me anywhere, you know what they should hire me to do, John? They should hire me to answer a phone call every week where I go, what a terrible fucking idea. Here's a better thing. And they can use it if they want. Effy does not need to be a part of television. Television is fucking dead. At the most basic, it is dead. We have hundreds and hundreds of people coming in here tonight, interested, engaged, and learning. I had people coming in on the Twitch all night. We have to get to these people, yes. But I am tired of sitting around and acting like any other person. Any other person needs to rub Effy's elbow for Effy's elbows to work. Y'all are desperate for anyone to tune in. People tune in for Effy. You would be a fool not to hire Effy, but Effy would be a fool to exist in your system the way it stands now. No, instead, I will crush the system. I will break it all. I'm holding the greatest bet of all. No one believes me when I say this, but I have the full pot in. And if I'm right, I'm in charge of this business entirely by 2040. And if I'm wrong, then I fade into obscurity and people will remember me the way they remember me. But I'm telling you this, there is too much mediocrity being fronted and lifted up by large distribution systems that are collapsing in front of our eyes. And when that happens and we are all at the same level, you will see that the gems I am shitting out are just as shiny as the rubies you've been buying for all the money in the world.
Wow. All right. I do have some fan questions, and it does go back to you and Allie. I just want to go back to those for a minute because I feel like you addressed the situation, but there were some fan questions, so I want to be fair with them also. Moving ahead, Allie does return to face Atticus for the GCW World Championship. This should have been a huge moment for both of you. You have a rich history at GCW together. Even with the separation, you're like, you know what? I wanted you to grow. You're growing. Go get him. I kind of felt like that was going to be, part of the issue here. Allie's on the ground and in pain. That seems to be like what really your concern was here when you threw in the towel.
Yeah, he had that chair on her leg. I mean, this is a $35,000 leg you got right here, and you got matches next week. And Atticus Kogar, if she knows better than anyone, I'm sorry to bring real life into it. As your ex, he doesn't give a fucking shit about you. Okay, let's be clear. So yeah, it's Effy, you should stay out of people's business. All right, well, I had to stand there in the middle of Hammerstein Ballroom while she fucking laid on the ground, screaming and squealing while the whole show was stopped, while I win the championship to middle fanfare while I'm crying on the top rope because I think I have gonorrhea, but I don't. I got the results back. I didn't have gonorrhea. It was a very stressful day for me. And now I'm looking at her again and I'm going, here we fucking go. I got to hear her bitch and complain about doing rehab for her leg again for another fucking year. No, she's not going to win the belt. I'm not going to let her die. And I'm sorry if she's mad at me for doing that. But okay, babe, look at the history. Look at the material. Prove it. Prove it.
There's some fans that are also feeling like commentary isn't giving you a fair shake and really understanding your situation. Queen Dania asked, every time Effy is out there in the ring, commentary's been burying him. Why? Sorry.
All right. I have to pee one more time, but there's another comment up here. I'm going to comment on both of them.
Not a problem, brother. All right, so now we're getting into the meat of everything. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. We're 2 hours and 8 minutes in here, and Effy has just been fantastic. I'm with you. I'm going to try to do what I can to let him cook. He's fantastic. What are you going to say? I do have a lot of questions that we're still going through. I have not forgotten questions. I have quite a few here that are still marked that we'll talk about later. I will answer one. TH is HS. I think that was their name here. They asked about the GCW training facility. There was one a while ago that's no longer active. So, yep. And yeah, don't forget, don't get Effy mad at the commentators before it could be coming.
Okay, listen, because I see this up here with Ishmael too, saying I attacked security, I attacked a ref, I tased a ref, all these things, and then commentary's not giving me a fair shake. Okay, listen to me. This is going to sound really harsh, but you got to follow me on the thread. A few years ago, I just had this moment where I was like, wait a second. Everyone at the wrestling show doesn't need to be there if there's no wrestling. Okay? Don't take this the wrong way. But the ref doesn't have to be there. The announcers don't have to be there. The cameraman doesn't have to be there. The podcast doesn't have to be there. No one has to be there if there's not wrestling in the ring. But the wrestling in the ring has to be there for the rest of the system to exist. Now, if you know me, and Sean, you know me, I'm respectful at all times. I really try to help out. I want to make everything work. I want to make everyone feel fine. I don't think a referee is lesser than a wrestler on the day of the show. But there are certain days where I go, hey, buddy, y'all are fucking on me. Y'all are complaining too much. Y'all are messing with me too much. And y'all are my accessory in this moment. And so, yes, I apologize later. But sometimes in wrestling, if you get in my way and you're fucking up what I'm trying to do, the wrestler, the primary, then yeah, guess what? Sorry, some shit's going to happen. You might get tased if you sneak up on me. You might get choked a little bit if you ring the bell when you're not supposed to. You might be on commentary and think you could slip them by me, but I know what everything is said about me, and I don't give a fuck because they're all making pervasive claims that they are viewing and they are seeing, and that is their opinion. And the audience obviously is hearing this and going, okay, well, that's fine. And we can tell he's not being given a fair shake. We can tell, maybe he's a little frustrated. And once again, should you tase referees? Probably not. Should referees be tased? Sometimes, yeah, they fucking should. Because they need to mind their business and get out of my space and stop fucking with me. And then stop, I got tased too. It's not just, I don't know, you're tasing. I got tased too. I got tased, and then you snuck up on me. And what did you expect? You got tased. So these people that are complaining, oh, you hurt the people on the show, be fucking honored that you were there to get tased in the first place. That's historic. And sorry it happened. It shouldn't happen again. But it's like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? Be the show and then be mindful of the fact that you're not the show, but you're there anyway? No way. You got to be mindful of me.
Hmm. So we had a fan ask about that screwdriver. Is this a year of you and Mance going at it? All of a sudden now you're like, you know what? I've seen, like you said, the screwdriver in action. It was time to bring it out and just go to town on Manders.
Yeah, well, part of that is I know they work from his history. I know screwdrivers work, but I will say somebody left that giant ass screwdriver under that ring, and I went under there just looking for whatever kind of weapons. And I think it was the grace of God that put that giant screwdriver there, because that was like a 3-foot screwdriver. And as soon as I saw that when I got out of the ring, I was like, oh, I think, yeah, obviously that works. And my head had been split open. I didn't really know what was going on. And I said, okay, well, that I know that works because I've been stabbed many, many times by a smaller version of that was sold on Whatnot by Mance Warner with my blood on it for many, many dollars that I never saw any of. And I said, okay, well, this is going to work. If Manders is going to split my head open like Mance, then I'm going to split his head open like Mance. And we can just keep living in a perpetuity of someone who's abandoned us to go to TNA anyway. And we can keep violently assaulting each other while he makes money painting his face and getting kissed by his girlfriend. Who won that thing? Who won that? You know what I mean?
Now, have you and Manders spoken since that match in Phoenix?
No, and he blocked me on Whatnot. He won't answer my text messages, so I don't know what to do about that.
Okay, I'm gonna hit you with a wild one. Someone made an observation here, and I don't want to get you upset about it, but I do want to ask. At this point, people do want to know, given the results of these matches you're interfering in, are you helping Atticus?
Am I helping Atticus?
That's a wild one, but I had to ask.
Oh my God.
People are wondering if you're choosing your shot. You know what I mean? By kind of, isn't that dude? I even see you kind of going shit.
Why would I want to help the guy who took my championship? Why would I want to regain the championship from the man that embarrassed me in front of everyone? Why would I want him to survive long enough to end up back in my jaws? Why would I want that little rat fuck with his little freaking, what is that? Mutton chops? His little mutton chops?
Yeah.
And his little suspenders? That's jabroni. You know what pisses me off? You know what pisses me off? When guys get new gear every week. Why do you need new gear every week? Why can't wear the gear that I know that you wear? Why you got to get a new little outfit every week? And who's paying you to get a new little outfit every week? I've been the champion. I know about the champion's bonus, but it ain't worth enough to go get another full outfit every week. What the hell is this?
Okay, I have to ask, are you jealous that he decorated the inside of that belt with the paisley? Did you see that? I know.
It's not just redecorated, John.
It's bastardized.
He got new plates. He got new leather. And he's lost the meaning of what this belt is. That belt that I held has never been cleaned. Okay? And that means it's caked in blood. It's caked in memories. It's caked in history. And I drug that thing around proudly. And as soon as he got his hands on it, he said, this is filthy. And that's number one, why he shouldn't be the GCW champion. But number two, he had to go get a special one made for himself. I think this boy likes to play dress up. I think this boy is very violent and scary. I think he's convinced his family in Ohio to follow him around and do fucked up shit. I can't deny Otis Kogar, currently the ultra violent championship. And I don't want to see anybody else take him off it but me. I think I should be the one to take it off him. And I don't want to see anybody else get hurt other than me. I think I can handle getting hurt. I think I'm good at getting hurt. I think I can get hurt. But I don't think it was that. And I think she could have died. And I'm not helping Atticus, and I won't help Atticus anymore, and I never will again. But Manders should have won with the lariat. I came out in the first place in that match because he hit the lariat, and I thought he'd won. Nobody kicks out a lariat. So if that guy kicked out of your lariat, Manders, maybe you should get the job done so I don't come out and prematurely celebrate with you when you don't become the champion and then think I should help because you're like, oh, what are you doing?
So it sounds like you're trying your best. And is it fair to say you did your best and you're misunderstood and it's causing frustration all around? Is that like the best way to put it?
Misunderstood is a misunderstanding because it's even beyond that. And it's just like, I could defend myself as being misunderstood in this all day, but it's very much also like, I think y'all are misunderstanding yourselves and then wanting to blame it on me. I'm sorry. It's a crazy world. Wrestling's a crazy world. And if anybody's prepared you for the crazy, it's Effy. And now I'm ready to push him out of the nest. I've tried to help these people, and I'm done helping these people. They don't want help. They don't want to be a part of it. I wish they were all main eventers, but it's like, do you want to be in the Effy squad and be forever remembered and booked, or do you want to go do your own thing? You can't have your cake and eat it too. And I wish them all the best in their future endeavors.
So you're ready for separation. Do you feel like this separation would be the best thing for crisis communication at this point? Just say, look, we all understand it, that we're misunderstanding. It's time to just break away, and then down the road, maybe we'll see each other again.
Yeah, and I think I have to be the one to break it, because it's very clear that like people have this idea that they need to like help me or keep me in line, or I'm too chaotic. I mean, John, right now you're looking at a person who X-Pac once called an absolute idiot, and then 3 years later did a commentary with me on Dark Sheik versus Nick Gage at the Ukrainian Cultural Center. And it goes to show you that I've constantly been questioned in my methods. I've constantly been questioned, in my health, in my appearances, in, what I've got going on, if, I'm able to perform or whatever this is. And it's all these people who I think are just like a little flabbergasted that I exist. And I've kind of tried to make this point where it's like, you're asking me if I'm fine, and you're asking me if these things are fine, and you're asking me if I'm losing my mind, because you would crumble under the pressure. You would collapse like dirty rocks. You would be destroyed into dust if you lived as me. And so if I am fine, it's fine. But if I'm not fine, which you are somehow thinking I am not, and you need to come in and protect me and change things and do things and tell me how to be and think that you're correcting some sort of behavior, you are actually just showing that you are not fine. Because I'm fine. And if you can't keep up with the fine that I am, I'm not going to keep bringing it down and turning it down and making sure it stays at your level. I'm going to be as fine as I am. And if you're questioning it, you can come find out for yourself. But this train is choo-chooing on down the tracks, baby. And I think that scares a lot of people. And I think a lot of people want to step in and go, well, we just love you, Effy. We think you're great, Effy. Baby, we're married to the game now. If you want to come on this train, then when Effy looks at you and goes, I'm not going to the hospital over this stupid little gash in my head because I'm annoyed at it, I don't need people to second guess my judgment. When I tell you that I'm fine for the match to continue, I don't need you to second guess my judgment. And in the same respect, look at the history. If I tase a guy, you should assume he should be tased. All right. When have I ever tased somebody I'm not supposed to tase? And Chad Rico, he would probably come on the show and apologize to you for getting tased by me, because he knows what he did, which is sneaking up on me, which don't sneak up on a grown man after he's gotten tased. You're going to get tased back. And it just goes to show you that at a certain point, you got to have, I don't want to say you got to have tiger's blood, because I think he was crazy, but I think if you lived as Effy for 2 or 3 weeks, most of you would die. And I am not bragging about that, but I'm being objective about that. And I'm just saying, if y'all are going to worry, it's because you're worried about yourselves. Because if I'm not fine, then you're definitely not fine. And if I am fine, then why aren't you? Because I'm going through a lot worse problems than you are, and you don't feel as fine as I'm feeling. And so I need people to either have trust that Effy is telling you the truth, or I need them to get ready, because I'm just going to punch you in the fucking mouth. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm not explaining myself. I have the history to back it up. I mean no harm to anyone, but I'm so tired of having to explain myself to losers who are in my face all the time, acting like they know what's best for Effy when they couldn't lace my fucking boots to begin with.
Wow. Okay. I got to get you off of this, because you were very clear. You answered all the questions there.
I'm fired up.
I am curious if this will go into the collective, but at this rate, it sounds like you were perfectly fine stopping everything last week.
Yeah, I was really fine with this being over with, and I've still left the door open. I disagree with her. I don't want to really be around her right now, just on a personal level. But I booked her for the brunch before all this went down. I'm not unbooking anyone from the brunch. I'm better than that. I'm bigger than that. I'm a mature person. But if she wants to stay on, I can't guarantee she's going to like her match. I can guarantee this. I'm not having a fucking match with Allie. Definitely not having a match with Allie at Big Gay Brunch. I have my own plans. I have my own things. If you want to go be in a 10-man tag, welcome to the show. The people will love it. I don't give a fuck. But I am leaving that. I'm not unbooking anyone because I am the great and powerful F, and I want to make sure, hey, I offered you the spot. You can have the spot. I'm not trying to take money out of anybody's pocket. But also, she should know by accepting that booking, she's probably having people in some office somewhere who book a bunch of mid-wrestling that can't get views to go, well, I don't know if we can use her on the roster. And that'll probably make her sad. But the facts will be that she'd have more fun if she stayed over here, but I need her to go find out for herself. I need her to fuck off and get signed to a little contract, do a couple 5-minute matches, sit backstage, eat catering for a year, and then come back to me and try to reform pussy. I'm ready for it. Give it to me, darling. But stop coming over here acting like you want to have business with me. Because, baby, you know where I stand. She knows Effy better than anyone. And for most of this shit, if I give a shit about stuff, I really give a shit about it. But if I don't give a shit about stuff, I don't give a shit. And there's things she gives a shit about that I don't give a shit about. So good luck, baby. But, you know, when I see you back in a year after the thing doesn't work out, it's fine. We'll do it. I'm here to help everyone. But, like, girl, I need you to go find out on your own. I've never been on that side of the coin. I cannot tell you how it goes, but I can tell you what I've learned from speaking with my other friends, and I can tell you it's not for Effy. That doesn't mean it's not for Allie. Doesn't mean it's not for Manders. Doesn't mean it's not for other people. But they're not going to know unless they go figure it out. And I need them to stop fucking around my house because I've got shit to do.
All right. I want to change the tone a little bit, kind of lighten it up. I don't want you in a situation where, you know, you're waking up the neighbors at midnight over there.
No, it's fine. Fuck them. They're gay. I got gay neighbors. What are they going to do?
I'm sorry. I don't have a snappy comeback on that.
No, there's no snappy comeback. It's fine. I'm probably keeping Peter awake, but that's, you know, we'll be okay.
By morning, people will just kill me online if I have some snappy gay, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We don't want you in trouble.
Okay, so let's have some fun here. We're going to talk about GCW. The wife and I loved Normand. Will we ever see? Hey, I'm just telling you, you have fun. I know your thing, but there are some things you do well. The cute thing has always been good. You've done it with Kikutaro. You've done it with Normand.
Yeah.
I actually have found that sometimes more entertaining than some of the other things you do because I don't know, the cute thing's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's something really magical about being a cute wrestler because it almost requires more thinking and more skill and more thinking ahead to like make those things count or be read in a way that's important. So whenever I get to do that kind of thing, it's like magic. My favorite moment of this though is something no one's ever I was talking to her about it last week. I don't know where the footage is. I know Fantasy Supercon Wrestling has the footage. I did a match as Sheriff Hopper from Stranger Things against Shotzi Blackheart as the nun from The Nun. And I got to tell you, it's one of the funniest matches I've ever been a part of. It is so much silly character work. I take being Effy very seriously when I'm Effy, but to get to go into another realm, to be a different character with different motivations, with different access. And so also like, there's a lot of Effy that I think falls into permanence for me that I think can be a little bit of a trap in that. I like that. Effy is my legacy. And so when I'm getting to perform wrestling where it is not tied to that in any sense or any historical context, being Norman the Mormon, being Effy, or even having those matches that are silly with Kikutaro or whatever it may be, I think that there's such a use of my skills that doesn't always get to be used that way. That's such a, there's an ease of flow to doing that where it is more complicated in some of the ways that I think, but it's also like, I am fascinated to get to not be Effy, but still be a wrestler. It's awesome.
I think it's cool that you're diving into that innocent part of yourself to bring that character forward because he has to be somewhat innocent, you know?
There's, for as in the know as Effy is, there's also a sense of gullibility that I can tap into that can be really fun. And I think also, it's like, for me, I'm a person who wants to be out at doors. I want to see who's at the shows. I want to see the room before I'm out there because I very much want to call the match for the room and the match for the show. Where like there's certain matches I'm announced for where I'm like, there's an expectation here. And I think there's magic to have an expectation for a match. When like me versus Psycho Clown in LA, go back and watch that if you have Fight TV. That's a crazy match with a little expectation and a little bit I have to live up to, where I need to do a certain thing and be a certain wrestler for it to succeed in a way that GCW needs it to succeed. But then there are these moments where it's like, there's no expectation of what the presentation is other than, is it the best match for the room? Is it the best match for the card? And I have always been a person who like, I can prepare any match that I need to have, but I'm also having the match that needs to be had. There's not a sense of greed to doing the match that I have to do a certain thing or I have to do it a certain way. If having a very silly match is what is best for the card and best for the positioning and best for Effy on that evening, that's what I want to be able to do. But if it requires that I go do a death match with blood, with these things, with crazy, with violence, with, you know, a lot of aggression, I want to be able to match that as well. But like, I'd be lying to you if I said I haven't embraced more so. Like I did the match with Danhausen in Vermont, and we've wrestled many times. Historically, I think I'm the person that's taken the teeth more times than anyone else. The teeth to the mouth, kicks in the face. It's happened in a lot of matches. To get to have that match where we're allowed to be a little silly, you know, it's sort of coming at the tail end of me being on this championship run, and I'm kind of re-embracing the silliness that caused a lot of the conflict early in my career that got me very over and got me into the position I'm in. I needed that kind of rebirth before I got back out here without the championship to go, okay, you don't have to have a title match every night now. And the reputation you're bringing is just that you're Effy and they either know or they don't. Whatever you do is going to be met with the right reaction if you're giving them what they need. And so I want to embrace that silliness a little more, but obviously I think I'm going to have some moments here where I have to be a little less than silly. But I don't want those anymore. And I want to be able to have the moment where, you know, I take my job very seriously, but sometimes in taking my job seriously, being a cute little bugger is sometimes the best thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't need to be Marcus Mathers because he's already sick at it. And so if he's doing a 450 and an enziguri, a top rope drop kick, you know, a dive to the outside, and he's doing it extremely well, it would be foolish for me to match that same intensity or aggression. And he's not always on the show. I don't know always what's going to be there. I did a dive the other day again. My first dive since I hurt my knee. That felt crazy. Hold
on. I'm so sorry. Was that the first dive you've taken since that didn't have my knee pads up into injury?
Yes. Yes, it was. I just want to say that I'm ready for anything. You know, if you told me I had to go wrestle a match right now, I would love more preparation than that. But I also would be ready to jump in the ring. I did a Nearly Average Wrestling is a comedy show in LA. He's done it in Atlanta too, hosted by Shane Hartline, who's a comedian. And they ask people on the stage and they do promos and we judge the promos on the panel. And then I had a match at the end of the night with Shane Haste. And to show up to the show as I was being introduced, not having any concept of the show, to then perform the whole show, do a match with Shane Haste on the fly and get that done, it's sort of this like indicator to me of what I've trained for is what I'm actually getting. And I am a performer who at this point is completely prepared at all times. If I get there early and I can have a discussion, I can really plan ahead, I'm very good with it. If I get there late or something happens and we just have to jump in and do something, I'm also very good with it. And I never want to be caught off guard in wrestling. I never want to be presented a situation where they say, well, Effy, you have a match with this person tonight. And I go, well, I don't know if I can do that. There was a time where I wrestled Sydney Akeem. You were there for that match in LA? Maybe you missed this.
Let's see. Last year, I've been to damn near every LA show for the last 3 years. This was
me and Akeem for the belt in LA. This was the match in LA after Hammerstone. I think maybe you missed one. I don't know. But me and Sydney Akeem wrestled, and Brett, I love him. He sometimes fucks with me because he knows.
This is a God bless his heart kind of statement. I know country and I know Southern. That was a bless his heart.
Bless his heart. He says to me, as I go to him and say, you know, what are you looking for tonight, boss? Which I take very seriously. He said, can you even like do Sydney Akeem moves?
Oh, shit.
And I went, what do you mean, Brett? And he's like, well, you know, he does like really crazy moves. And you like Effy moves sometimes. Like, I know you got it in you, but can you have it tonight? And because of that statement that I knew was just trying to really get me fired up. And there's another statement that he used in Portland to get me fired up that I will discuss one day. I then was missing moonsaults for the next 4 matches just to go like, oh, you think I can't do flips and tricks and fly from the top? And then, of course, I recently had that match with Gringo Loco in Kansas City where it was me and Brett had words that day. And I did a standing top rope Rana. I did a Spanish fly. And to go like, the second you think I can't, I will rub it in your face that I can. And I don't want to have to rub it in your face, but I'm here right now and I stand before you. The second you doubt me, you know you can pull a performance out of me that you can't even believe. What he said to me in Portland, poor Atticus Cogar. Go watch, because that was a really hectic night for me. I got booed that night. I did freak out on a ref, and I did have to be stopped by Priscilla Kelly, and I did hit Matt Tremont with a championship after trying to deal with Atticus Cogar. But I go back and watch me punch Atticus Cogar there. Those punches are a direct result of Brett Lauderdale saying something to me about punches, and poor Atticus had to eat the fucking brunt of that.
Okay, so I don't know if I've ever asked you this question. I don't know if anybody else has, but a lot of your really good fans would like to know, when did you know that you were becoming one of the regulars at GCW? Was there a rough time or a couple moments where you went, shit, I think I'm in?
It's such a crazy thing, because a lot of people ask me like, oh, how do I get to GCW? And me and Brett have one belief that we really share, which is if you fucking want it, you're going to get it. If you have an idea for something cool and you tell it to me one time and you never bring it up again, I don't think you really cared about that idea. Or if you think you should do something and you tell me one time in passing, I don't think you really wanted it. But if you're messaging me every week and you're showing up and showing out every time and you're helping without being asked, there are these things that I kind of look for in talent that I think Brett looks for in the same sense. And since day one, it has been no bullshit. But I can think specifically of a period of matches from, you know, I started at that first clusterfuck. My first singles match, though, was Orange Cassidy. And I can remember specifically Joey Janela going up to Brett at the table after the show. And he goes, Brett, you got to book this guy more. And Brett goes, I fucking know, Joey. I watched the match. But I've seen plenty of people come into GCW and have a match that's good, and have a match that's great, and then kind of filter off and falter off. And I think if you really go back and look through the cage match, you can find this period where I was being tested along the lines of my singles run. And I think one of the biggest tests was that first title match with Nick Gage that I was given sort of out of nowhere, where I think Brett was seeing the reaction, seeing the places that were booking me, seeing, you know, I was getting over doing these things, getting controversy. And Nick Gage did not know who I was. And I think I've told this story before, obviously. But I showed up that day and Nick came up and he said, we're going to do an ultraviolent death match and we're going to open the match with a ton of glass. And I said, sounds good, Nick, whatever you need. And he told me many, many, many times after that, that day, Lauderdale tried to argue that we didn't need to do a death match, tried to argue, oh, just let him meet Effy. Effy's going to be a star. Tried to argue maybe we do something crazy and let Effy, you know, get over a little bit on Nick Gage, maybe not beat him, but look a little tough against Nick Gage. And Nick took great offense to this because I was someone showing up new from the clusterfuck, showing up out of nowhere. And now I understand where he was coming from, because I will defend this GCW turf with my life over here. I will defend it over and over and over again. To see someone coming on your turf and have your boss go, well, maybe Effy could be a champion here soon, or maybe Effy could beat your ass and almost beat it. Fired Nick up to a place where he was ready, I think, to kill me. And when I said, whatever you want, Nick, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do tubes, I'll do glass, I'll do anything you ask. He sort of said, oh, fuck, the guy's for real. And then I was put through a series of matches after that where I was tested within an inch of my life. Go back to one of the first times I was in the UCC where I defeated Eddie Kingston. It was part of that testing ritual.
Oh gosh, what year was that?
2019.
Yeah.
It was the fall of 2019.
Your first year.
Crazy. And so then when COVID hit, I think Brett really figured out something that beyond just being a performer for GCW, I am down for the cause. And if that means picking someone up at the airport, if that means getting someone to the hotel, if that means letting somebody stay in your room, if that means giving somebody a spot after a show, whatever that means, to me, if it's long live GCW, it's by any means necessary. Long live GCW. And there have been plenty of times where we have disagreed. There have been plenty of times where we've argued. There have been plenty of times where people coming into GCW are not pumped on Effy, or Effy is a hindrance in some ways to GCW. But there are even more times that you can look to the history of GCW and see that I've made it work. I've made it happen. I've made magic. I've brought more eyes. I've brought more attention. I've brought more glory, whatever it may be. And to be as ride or die for GCW as I have been, God bless the results, because Effy is over in person. But it has also been something where I'm looking constantly at our team, at the people around us, and going, I take this shit dead fucking serious. I will die for this shit. I will do whatever it takes to make this shit operate on a level beyond what it is, even if it exhausts me, even if it kills me, even if it's me standing around going, why isn't anyone else doing the help or doing the work of the people that are doing the work right here? If 10 more of y'all would do the same work, we would be killing it at an even higher level. I don't care if they join it or not. To be a diehard for this company is rewarded in some ways, but you have to get it every night. I hate telling people, like, there is this sort of Republican conservative part of my brain that is, you need to earn it every fucking night. I love the security of a liberal ideology of having a safety net, having things for people that they deserve. But let me tell you something about GCW. You better earn it every fucking night. Like I said to Jordan Oliver, if you had one bad match and you were under contract, that's fine. If you had 4 bad matches under contract, well, you're under contract. If you're out here in GCW and you have 4 bad matches, there ain't a 5th match, buddy, because our fans have an expectation, our shows have an expectation, and to stay on as long as you have been here, you have to be able to pull your weight. And sometimes that weight is being someone the fans can identify with and know to bring in a new talent to the GCW vibe. Sometimes that job of the night is to play a role that you don't necessarily want to play in that moment, and to do it to the best of your ability. And sometimes that play is to be a greedy son of a bitch and do whatever the fuck you want on your own show and sell some tickets. And I'm happy to be every part of that for GCW. And I think if you look at the history of where it is, anybody who is saying that I haven't earned it in the fucking pit out here every time we've gone out to do it has not been paying any attention, because we are out here trying new things. We are trying to expand the stories. We're trying to make wrestling what we think it should be. And that means eating a lot of shit and doing a lot of extra work and driving to Arizona and stopping halfway at a hotel and doing whatever it takes to maintain this brand and keep this going, because this is very important to people. It is very important to me. And whatever the storyline is going on, whatever crazy stuff's going on, at the end of the day, I want these shows to kill, even if I get killed doing them. And I will do anything to make that happen. And there are a lot of people that come in the door and see the door swing and hit them in the ass on the way out. Because what we are not is a handout center. What we are not is your next meal ticket. And I think we've had to learn it the hard way in a lot of cases, that we are a springboard for people's careers. We are a springboard for people getting booked in other places and other ways. And we are not going to be taken advantage of. And our hardcore fan base is not going to be taken advantage of by, putting over and helping people who are not completely down with the cause and what we do. And so I think when you see people come through those doors and make a difference and make an impact and keep showing up, you can also be very aware of the fact that, they are putting their whole heart into it. And it takes a lot to make this show run, but it also takes, more than thinking you're just one role on a thing at an independent level of keeping this going.
Okay, so as someone who's been there for around 7 years, let's just say Brett comes up and says, look, Effy, I need a couple recommendations. I'm just going to ask you, is there anywhere you think GCW should tour more? Overseas, in the United States?
Yes. I think we absolutely need to be in the Southern United States more because I'm there and because the scene is really tough there right now. And, you know, Orlando being the new home for NGI, I think is a very good thing. Florida is a bad state for a lot of reasons, but much like Texas, which is a bad state for a lot of reasons, there are good reasons it's a state too, which is you can kind of get away with some shit. And, you know, I joked that if deathmatch wrestling was any more popular, they would have passed some laws against whatever the fuck we had going during COVID. And so we need to find these bases that we are able to expand and we are able to show wrestling fans that already exist that, you know, there's an alternative to what you can come out and see. And I think there are a lot of home bases for GCW that have become really wonderful, replicatable, that we can keep going back to and keep working. But it is also the thing of continuing to expand our footprint in places. And, you know, listen, there's a man on a mission right now, John Wolf, and that man is Brett Lauderdale. And that mission is to be at every state in the United States in a very significant way soon. And I also know we're both so stubborn, and I love this. There's something he's saving for the very end. And it is very fascinating to me to see how this planning goes, to see how this expansion goes, and to also see how I'm able to help make connections, how other guys are able to help make connections. You know, I recently took a booking coming up April 13th in Oklahoma. And I took another booking, I think, coming up the next month, I think, in Oklahoma. And now, having that connection, I'm getting Brett involved. I'm getting Brett in touch so that we can add another state to that list to bring GCW to a new place. And it is, we've all been having this conversation where it's like, of no fault of anyone's, in a tough economy, it is really hard to watch indie wrestling have companies shut down right now, have companies that maybe have bit off more than they can chew and have been sort of left with the bill, unable to kind of do what they need to do, have had to close their doors, have had to shut off opportunities to a lot of great wrestlers, and to look at GCW and go, listen, we are going to have to do this our way. We are going to have to put a lot into this to make it work. And this is going to be, you know, a year of really hunkering down and doing what we do best and grassroots building this thing back up again as we watch the rest of indies kind of get smushed and torn up. But it's been a learning lesson where I think what we're learning on the indies is it is really cool to have somebody on your show and that you can put an FKA and the company name they used to work for and all of these things. But I think a lot of these companies, looking back, have gotten extremely burned by some of the prices they paid out on these guys that are coming in. They have not gotten the ROI on a lot of these people that have left contracts through. And what I've learned is there are guys who are willing to play ball and understand this business and will use that, hey, I'm going to do an indie and I have a little different expectation, but I don't have a crazy expectation for it because I know I can platform this into another way. Working with people and making those connections with people who are actually about what we're doing here. They're going to use it for selfish reasons and it's fine. But seeing the vampiric nature of a lot of what indie wrestling had become for the past few years, now seeing multiple companies dropping like flies left and right after I know what they've given out to a lot of these guys who just don't pay the business, you know, the way they pay it back. I knew, you know, I know of a promoter who paid a guy $8,000 and then had to tell Effy, you sold more tickets than this guy when we announced Effy. And I said, bro, you got to open the checkbook because that's crazy that you would pay him and admit that to me. But I think promoters are waking up to that. And I'm not trying to take money out of anyone's pocket. But when I hear from promoters who will complain to me about what they're paying for certain talent, I will explain to them the absurdity of that. Because I'm going, number one, so-and-so does not pay them that. Sorry to let you know. But number two, have you ever made that money back on that person? Or is this just you're comfortable losing money on a person? We're not in that position now. What we're comfortable doing is building wrestling and building stars and highlighting talent and letting them grow to a level where they can be an Alec Price or Jordan Oliver and go, I know what my skills are worth. I know my skills have been valued all over the world, in Japan, at multiple companies, because I've had the chance to wrestle people that I've looked up to at GCW, because I've had the chance to be alongside legends who have been in these same places before. Now these kids are coming into these contracts and they have awareness and understanding and skill and value to give versus just thinking, oh, we're an indie. Thank God the TV guys want to come work with us. Thank God they're even looking at us to be on their roster now. No, we know what we offer. We know what we value. We know what our strengths and weaknesses are. And this expansion that I think you're going to see in the next few years is going to be us being a part of the other side of PR and crisis communication, which is we see the problems ahead and we are trying to nip them in the bud now. And we are trying to reward the fans who have been with us as long as they have been with us, who love all the additional things that come in. There's going to be surprises. There's going to be ECW legends having their retirement matches against invisible people. There's going to be lucha stars that you can't believe exist. Vikingo is going to be on GCW before everybody else. There's going to be these moments that we still have. There's also going to be GCW standing on its own and not having to almost exist in the zone of all these other things. They are going to have to acknowledge us because we're going to stop acknowledging them.
I like the idea, especially when half of the women's AEW roster or GCW stands out at one time or another.
Right. And the fact that I'm looking at a business in wrestling now, and this is going to be the harshest truth they hear all day. There's a lot of people, John, listen how silly this is, that think they're better wrestlers than Effy because they're not silly, right? Y'all who have been signed to companies wrestle, best case scenario, 4 times a month. Best case scenario, they are booking you to wrestle 4 times a month. John Wolf, there are no house shows. They have warehouses they can practice things in. But like you said at the beginning of the show, 100, 120, I believe one year I counted them myself as 135 matches in a year. And cage match doesn't get them all, but I don't care.
No.
There is a job that this used to be, which is that you would wrestle a lot of matches for a lot of time, and your job was to get the people on their feet for the time that you were out there and to sell some fucking tickets and to fill the time. Ric Flair would wrestle 60 minutes a night as the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. To people he'd never met before, to people he'd never wrestled before, he would go out there and wrestle. And as Dusty said, they'd wrestle 7 days a week if they could and twice on Sundays. And what we have is an epidemic of non-wrestlers being signed to contracts where they are not wrestling. And then we are surprised that the product isn't as good as it could be. There is no repetition. There is no cardio. There is no match structure. There is no, hey, you remember we did this last time, let's try it again. There is stiltedness. There is ego. There is timeline separation between the moments that you're in the ring, which causes rust, which causes injury, which causes poor performance, and which causes audience tiredness of watching someone have to get through something where I can see them thinking, when Effy is over here doing something just as magical and at a higher skill level than you can imagine, where back in my day, the indies used to be who you look at to see who you put on TV because that's the best of the best. And now who you put in your contract and put on TV, a lot of cases, they're finding out, and I think they're letting go of a lot of people, saying yes, sir, is not a good quality to having an employee. Asking why we are doing something, asking where the story is going, asking what the fuck we're doing, and also demanding that as a wrestler, you wrestle. They aren't wrestling anymore, John. These guys are on Raw getting injured. These guys are on AEW getting injured. These guys are on TNA getting injured because they don't do what I do. My body hurts, man, but my body's used to it because I'm a professional wrestler, John. If I did this twice a month, I don't think I'd be able to call myself.
You'd be injured. You'd be injured.
I'd be injured
all the time.
I couldn't go around calling myself a professional wrestler. It's like having someone who won an open mic night one time go up and tell somebody an Eddie Murphy that they're just as much of a stand-up comic as he is. Yeah, we both technically have the same job title, but you showing up to a TV taping and not having a match in your suit and eating catering and being nice to everyone, and then going home and doing that the next week, and then coming back the third week and finally getting a 5-minute match at 10 p.m. after everyone else's matches is not, to me, what a wrestler would be. I love this shit, John. But if at any point I ever showed up to a building for 12 hours and didn't wrestle and didn't know whether or not I would quit. Because what I like about wrestling is being a wrestler. And a lot of y'all are not. And I don't think we should keep catering to the fact that just because you were shown on TV means you're going to be a valuable asset to anything we're doing at GCW. And it doesn't exclude you either.
Bingo. Bingo.
You thinking you were chosen? Let me tell you a secret. I know what a lot of these people make. And a company as big as TKO, signing you to an NXT contract is like buying a $5 lottery ticket, right? If I buy 400 $5 lottery tickets, one of those sons of bitches is going to hit. And I got enough money to buy as many lottery tickets as I want. And I'm sure that little lottery ticket can't feel that it's being bought. But if you get signed to NXT and fuck up and get injured or fuck up and get arrested or fuck up and get drunk or you just fucking suck, you never hang on there. And let's say they had you there 3 years. At that salary at 3 years, you were worth the risk of money because what if you were Roman Reigns? And if we do 100 of you, we're bound to get one Roman Reigns, right? Or at least something close. And to see that these people are coming off of these contracts where the company's going, this isn't worth the squeeze. You weren't worth the squeeze while you were here. And they're going, well, I wasn't given the chance. Without ever considering, maybe you fucking suck. Maybe you were fired from a job because you weren't good at it. Maybe you weren't fired from a job because you weren't given the chance. And I think there's a lot of people that adds up to. But maybe if you look historically at who has ever made any money in wrestling, who has ever made anything in wrestling, who has ever been over in wrestling, you realize they weren't sitting backstage waiting for the office's permission. The office was waiting backstage to make sure they didn't piss these people off because they went out and they chewed their own cud and they spit their own spit and they said their own stuff. And there's not been anyone who has gotten over in professional wrestling without being a bit of a twat who is a little too full of themselves. Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, Jesse Ventura, the Young Bucks, The Rock, John Cena was a fucking smimer. Even look at The Miz. He was smimey all the way. Everyone hated him the whole time. Here's the thing. These guys are all going, well, I did everything right and they still didn't like me. I must be great. A lot of y'all need to go work at fucking Chili's. A lot of y'all, it was a fluke in the pan that you ever got hired to do wrestling at all. A lot of y'all don't even like this shit. You just like being popular on social media. Isn't that silly that Effy has to be the one that tells you that? A lot of y'all just like dressing up and taking pictures with your muscles. A lot of y'all don't like professional wrestling. And a lot of y'all like to say that Effy doesn't like professional wrestling because Effy doesn't dress it the same way you do. But honey, when Effy walks out during my entrance, I don't worry about hitting my marks. I don't worry about hitting my poses. I don't worry about looking where hard cam is. I don't worry about making sure I'm within my realm and my time and my position because I know what the fuck I'm doing because I'm not pretending. And I watch y'all hit every mark perfectly and you hit all the lines in your promos. And God damn it, it's some of the most boring television I've ever seen in my whole life. So no, I'm not against any of these places because, oh, they didn't hire you or they're not good. I'm against y'all putting out mid-ass content that means nothing, that is the repetitive storylines we have seen over and over and over from pro wrestling, that has no emotional entail, that has no importance, and that has no contrast in value or want or direction other than what we have already seen in wrestling. I want to be a champion. I want to prove you wrong. Oh, now you made it personal. It's just tiring. And if you didn't do well there, maybe you will do really, really well out here on the indies. Or maybe you will find out here that what I think wrestling is and what you think wrestling is are different things. And that what you think wrestling is not going to work out here more than one time. Because I see all y'all get hired once and they pay the price. And then guess what? You weren't worth value and you were terrible. I'm not saying wrestlers aren't worth this money. I'm just saying if you walk in and that's your price tag, bitch, you better have 50 people in your fucking t-shirt in line because girl,
doesn't happen.
They're already wearing Effy merch at that rate. And if I know I've got to stand next to you all night and they paid you that much money and you have just decreased the ROI on this show where the same amount of people would have showed up if you were here or not. And we booked some fucking weird fantasy for some person. Great. But guess what? I'll be back in 2 months. I'll be back at the next show because my value is still valuable. And they'll go, Effy, you could make more money than that. Effy will make as much money as Effy needs to make. You will make a price one time and no one will ever hire you to do that job again. Good luck. Have fun. See you on the other side.
I've actually seen that quite a few times where you feel like some of these guys are just blown up by the $1 billion machine. And then they go, well, they're not worth it. Let them go. And then they go to the indies and go, well, I was on TV. I won 3 times the amount of this guy. But even as a fan, I notice that price may be where it's at, but I'm not seeing any extra asses in the seats.
Exactly.
You know,
and
it looks just like another GCW show, but now that guy's there. And I almost wondered how, I've never asked Brett this, but I'd love to know, how does he avoid the trap of having someone coming in with an inflated ego? But the reality is, they
by
put
having your ass
machine
kicked by it hundreds of times. Like, it's look at the history of it. I'm sure he could point to plenty of times where now I love when people are like, oh, it's so hard to get a hold of Brett. I love that because it fucking should be. Okay.
Yeah.
You should see the inbox. It's I've scrolled. I've watched him scroll one time. It's crazy. The man sends you a message just to put you at the top of the list because there's so many messages coming through. You would not believe some of the conversations this man is having.
Yo.
And it should be, yo. It should be hard to get a hold of him. And I think what we have found out is, like, there have been big swings and there have been big results where it works. But what you find out is, like, hey man, just because this promoter over here, Podunk number 7, paid you this rate, that's not your rate. Your rate is what your value is to the show. And if you're hitting us up, you want to be a part of what we are doing. You need us to be a part of what you're doing. There are people who come in and they go, look, I know if I can work here and prove myself a little bit, I may not be here forever, but it can be a really big launching pad to getting me involved in other places. And the guys who come in and know that and work hard and bust their ass and go, look, this might not be exactly what I asked for to begin with, but let's see what happens. And they see it kind of grow and expand. That's the guys that I want to keep in the locker room. The guys who show up and they go, this and this, or they didn't want this, or he wouldn't do this. We are onto your game. We are onto your game.
Yeah.
We know we are valuable to you. And you saying, oh, well, my normal rate is so-and-so. Dog, just because like Jerry Dipshit paid you that rate one time, that is not your rate. Y'all, if I told y'all some of the rates I've been quoted, trying to get cool matches for people to have on Big Gay Brunch, trying to get really sick matches for people that are LGBTQ on Big Gay Brunch, and them quoting me prices where I went, oh, you think I'm an idiot. And then a year later, John, what are they doing a year later when they realize I'm not your fucking podunk indie butt boy show. I'm not your, oh, let me run this boy down. I'm the one where I gave you an opportunity and you said, I don't need it, or I need this to be the opportunity. And I said, well, we're good. And then you started looking over and you went, oh, I've done nothing in the last year now. Oh, no one's booking me to do anything. And let me tell you something. This is a business where you got to do things. And you got to keep doing things. And once again, I hate that that's the truth of it. But a lot of people think they did one thing or they did a thing, that it keeps expounding on itself. I'll tell you what, grow up, loser, because you got to keep doing all the time. Why is Effy constantly reinventing? Well, number one, because I'm bored as shit. But number two, because it is constant to stay on top of this. As I've said many times in the locker room with people, if you aren't looking around at the people around you and going, okay, not only is this is my roster, but we are in competition too with each other. And I think it's a pleasant competition, but if Effy is not constantly trying to stay on top and constantly trying to innovate and constantly trying to expand the game or change what I'm doing, or like I said, be adaptable to anything, like it's a little bit desperate sounding to say like, I need to be good at everything in wrestling. But I guess what? I've had a 12-year run of doing this, where I've never stopped doing this, where I've never stopped expanding my reach and upping my ante and having bigger matches. And that is because I have never rested on the laurels. I have never stopped trying to keep changing what this is and what this means to me. And I've never stopped putting forth all of my effort, whether I want to or not, into making it happen. I don't get half-ass nights. If you paid money to come see me do anything, and you showed up to the building, you left your house, you got in your car, you showed up to the building, you paid money. I don't care what the expectation is for the night. I owe you whatever you asked for. And I need to grow the fuck up and provide it if this is my job. It is a blessing. It is cool. It is so sick to be Effy. But the reason we've stayed around this long, the reason GCW keeps popping up, the reason Effy keeps popping up at GCW, the reason you see a core roster of strong workers is because we earn it every day and we go out here and understand that. And you will see people fly by night. But thank God we operate on a system where there are not a lot of contracts out here, because I think in that zone, you go, oh, well, Effy's just worked there. Effy will work there forever. There will come a time where Effy moves on a little bit. And that time will come when it needs to come. And I hope to continually be on a friendly radar with GCW as long as I need. I hope to continually run shows with GCW as long as I need. But I hope you fucking sharks come and replace me. I hope there comes a time where you eat my legs out from under me and destroy me and take from me whatever I have here and continue providing to the fans what they need, because that's what it is.
That was damn well spoken. There are people in chat going, he is giving lectures tonight.
And this is why I don't give out interviews that often too, John, is because we're on hour 3. It's 1 a.m. East Coast.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not a sorry. I can't half-ass it. If I go in and get interviewed by someone, I'm going to speak to every part of it. I'm not going to try to cut it out. I'm not going to try to hide words. I'm not going to try to mince speech. And, I think I'm in a really unique position. Obviously, we've talked before, but it's like I'm at a very strange crossroads, man, where I am as somebody told me middle-class entertainment doesn't exist anymore. Like it's impossible to be a middle-class actor or a middle-class performer or just a touring comedian. You got to have touring comedy and a podcast and a couple of spots on shows. You got to have this and this and this. And I have been able to pay my bills being exclusively Effy through a lot of forms, through a lot of ways, as Cardona would put it, the crow cake of all these different things. And I've been able to do this a long time, but I'm also coming to a point where I'm going, I wonder if I am holding myself back from expanding what wrestling is by continuing to be in the position where I'm a full-time performer. I would love for there to be the space for me to wrestle 20 to 25 times a year. And it's very important and it's good. And I can run more shows and do things, but I'm trying to come to that understanding of, I think these ideas are very important to share with people. I know I put myself into things 100%, but I also, is there more value to Effy if I just was able to take those times off and reassess and reconvene and redo? But I'm going to tell you a secret, John. I'm an entertainer paying his bills. We are on the verge of a large-scale recession crisis. People don't like to even discuss it yet. It is still incredible to me that people can afford going to shows. I am not hounding people to purchase merch anymore. I am getting less money coming in, and I understand that. I have tightened the belt. I have more facets of how I'm getting my money here, but I'm also going, if this is going to continue in the way it continues, I'm going to have to do what Effy does, which is continue to get more and more creative, continue to find more ways where I'm valuable to the industry and where it can grow and where it can go, and continuing growing myself, because like sitting here and talking to you, it does also remind me that there's a lot I should be teaching to people. There's a lot I should be bringing up to people. And to live in a business that has told me constantly, you may be popular, but you're not pro wrestling. And that is a true thing that I have continually tried not to have riding on my shoulder, but has been on my shoulder a long time, to kind of come to the conclusion after being a world champion of like, no, you're Effy. You've existed in this world. You are more of this world than anyone can tell you that you're not. And I have to find these ways to continue expanding the kind of knowledge and joy and understanding of wrestling that I have in a way that can be practiced and applied in real life by people that isn't just me. Because I've shown I can apply it. It works if I apply it. But it is very hard for me to see the expansion of wrestling happen if I'm going to keep this stuff to myself. And I am going to keep it to myself if I keep only dedicating this much of my life to the performance of it.
Yeah, you're obviously in a reflective stage, which means that you have learned enough and you're smart enough to sit there and really kind of go through it. This kind of goes into this here. What would you do in your second GCW World Championship run that you learned you don't want to do again from that first run?
I think I thought I had to be a particular type of wrestler. And I know we touched on this a certain way, but there's there is a legacy to this belt. And there is an idea that I think when people think they can predict Effy, even though they can't. And so coming into this title match and trying to maintain a bit of unpredictability in the way that I was approaching every match, and approaching all the different appearances and all the different opponents. If I had the belt again, and when I hope I have the belt again, I would like to make sure I don't think about having the belt. I think I need to just exist as Effy. I have felt such a freedom in going back to kind of like the devil may care or not care, whatever may happen, throw it to the wind. There's sort of just a wildness that I've kind of tried to rebite into that I had missed from being just kind of a piece of shit gay boy in Georgia causing trouble. You know, I got into this business to poke the bubble as it stood anyway. And so to see me kind of try to maintain the bubble a little bit in my own mind while I'm holding this championship and trying to prove to people that I'm some kind of wrestler of a certain taste, or that I can do everything, or am able to run everything. I hope that I could just, like, you know, have as silly of a match as I can have or want. You know, I look, one of the first news articles after I became champion was about me pouring eggs into Cara Noir's mouth, and it caused a lot of like tizzy.
Oh, geez.
And it caused a lot of tizzy in the gay community, where like, I don't agree with them, but someone did write an article that started with like, I'm a cancer to the gay community because I won't take anything seriously. And I keep being, taking the responsibility of being, you know, a top billed homosexual male. I don't take it seriously. And I think I heard that and sort of said, well, maybe I do need to take it more seriously. Maybe I do need to have this. And it's like, no, I don't. I'm Effy. There's only Effy. And if I'm the champion, it's because I was so good at being Effy. It was better than all of you. And I need to just embrace that instead of thinking like, well, I should add an arm drag because that's what a champion would do. And I know how to do one anyway. And they should know that because I'm the champion. And it's like, it's very hard to beat that out of your brain a little bit. And I think like the paranoia gets you too. When like every night I show up and I've got to put this on the line. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. This is not a situation where like every other match is a street fight. Under GCW rules, anything can happen every time I walk in that ring. And towards the end of that title run, I think I was a lot more paranoid about what was going on and what was happening. And I think it is reflective in, you know, kind of the output. I think the matches were great, but I think if you go back and watch it, you're seeing a man who is scared for his life and taking himself a little too seriously and probably a little too tense for his own good.
So I've watched you long enough, and I'm going to give you a personal opinion, and we may agree here, we may not. I just don't feel like this was the title run you wanted. This is the title run. These are the conditions you got, not the conditions you wanted. And I know you well. I feel like I know what you usually want to bring across enough. I don't feel like this was your GCW title run that you really wanted. And please correct me, because I'm being respectful about it as much as I can. I just, there's that was 60% what you wanted. I feel like there's a 40% there that I don't feel like you got to peel off and be.
Let me fix my camera here. So I keep coming out of focus, which I think is on purpose. To start that title run with, like you said, it's 1 a.m. at Hammerstein. Hallie's got a broken leg. I'm the winner of the championship match. I'm out of my mind. Mance is gone after this. And I'm kind of left in this position where there's not necessarily an expansive baby heel pervasive storyline. And I kind of said, well, I'm going to make my own storyline. I'm going to do this my own way. But like, it was very hard. And to get the momentum to do it was very hard. And I don't think, you know, I think I'm releasing it more now, but I don't think I was in my best headspace for a lot of that year, just because I was exhausted. And to have a title run like that come sort of, you know, maybe a year later than I would have liked to have it. Maybe after a lot of other things have kind of fallen by the wayside, it felt like I had to sort of pick up my britches and make up for lost time in those senses. And I'm really, really proud of a lot of those matches. And I think I changed a lot as a wrestler in those times, but it's like to kind of bring it full circle and see, like, I've had a lot of thoughts, and I've always been a very opinionated person since I was born, but since I got into wrestling too. And it felt like, if I look back on it, that for the sake of existing in wrestling historically, I was maybe existing as something I wasn't. To see that go as successfully as it went, like you said, the most title defenses anyone's ever had at that belt, a very long time, almost a full year with that belt. I did prove that I am a viable champion. I did prove that I am viable to that, but I don't know if I proved that like being Effy isn't a swayable thing, because I feel more Effy than I felt in 4 years. And, you know, some of that is, you know, coming off the feud with Mance and feeling like, okay, well, I need to check my brain. I need to take a little relaxer. And I think I had a little moment in there where maybe he was off my ass. But from Hammerstein on, you know, and before Hammerstein, where I've got Ali and Mance both trying to kill me, there just hasn't been a moment to really sit down and reflect before now. You know, for as much as me and Atticus disagree on almost everything, to see a sort of different spin on where this championship is headed, see a different spin on where he sees the company heading, and to at least give me like a little break to kind of have a moment for the first time in 7 years to go, okay, well, I'm in my place now. Everybody back the fuck up a little bit. Let me breathe. We're good. We're good. But I need to at least reassess and see what this is. And I as I move forward, I feel, you know, for better or for worse, even more steadfast in what I believe wrestling can and should be. And that is far beyond just what Effy is able to reach. I mean, I'm booking shows too to kind of show you that. But I also have to really solidify that I don't owe anyone anything when I perform as Effy, as long as the fans are getting what they think they deserve. Like, I can say I don't owe anyone anything. At the end of the day, the fans have to want to see what I am providing, right? Like, that's the ultimate bottom line. There has to be interest in seeing what I want to do, but I also have to trust, like, I don't have to fit into wrestling. I will never fit into wrestling the way they want, and that's fine. But I am having more success, and I've had more joy and more success in wrestling when I've embraced that I am an absurd, weird, strange, odd fellow. Some people go, oh, doesn't he have a gay gimmick? And I go, you don't know the half of it. I am one of the weirdest, strangest human beings I've ever met. Yes, it's very easy to quantify me down to this particular character or particular trait of a character. But if you watch all of Effy and you see some of the stranger moments, gay or not, I'm a weird little bitch. And I want to keep embracing that. And, you know, I looked back at the first Twink Gauntlet I ever did, which is a Time Bomb Pro, which is kind of a predecessor to the Big Gay Brunch. And, you know, the speech at the end was sort of me going, why box ourselves in? Why call someone a twink when we are all human beings, where a bear is a twink, is a twunk, is an otter, is a friend, is a foe, is a lover, is a family member. And to sort of say this wildly weird match where I see how many young, muscular, hairless men do I have to fight to die? Well, it turns out the one who got me was actually a bear. To do something absurd like that in that time, where now I'm sitting here 7 years later, 8 years later almost, after I did such an absurd thing, and I'm going, I don't want to lose the path of absurdity again, because it's the way I found my most success. I'm now coming out of a position where, like, I'm sitting here on a soapbox tonight, y'all, but I assure you, this soapbox is also me honking my nose, because I know when Effy is at its most successful for me personally and production wise, it is when I am embracing the fact that, like, yes, I am silly, but I'm also silly in a way that is silly because I am unafraid of whatever I am up against. And there's nothing not tough about being silly. There is something not tough about pretending to be a type of tough that you aren't on the inside, because your toughness is your toughness. And my toughness is laughing in your fucking face, blowing you a kiss, slapping your ass, and telling you to do something about it if you really have a problem, which to me is the toughest thing of all.
Being candid, and you don't have to agree or disagree, I feel like your championship run was 2 years too late.
All right, well, come on.
Your first one should have been somewhere between 2021 and 2023. Just as a fan of yours, I feel like that there was a time there, especially during that, like, you were just peak like crazy, and I think that would have been a a fun time to see you come in and do some things there. And I've said it about, well, first of all, Allie's way overdue and earned. You were overdue and earned. And also, I want to say, I want to back you up. You had such an intense rivalry back and forth with Manser that you had to have been completely blown out by all that work that was put in before you.
And I think a lot of there was this really confusing time right after Cage of Survival because I had defeated Mance at Cage of Survival, and I had found myself not the champion by the end of that night. Mance Warner had won the championship by the end of that night, and then we had sort of parted seas like it didn't exist. And a lot of people were like, "Why isn't Effy? Effy just beat Mance. Why wouldn't Effy be going for the title right there?" And to be clear, I pulled Brett aside and was like, "Dude, I need a second. This has physically destroyed me. I am beyond a point where I can operate correctly." And I think if you look at 22-23, I'm really pumped about the stuff I did with Ali. I'm really pumped about being a tag champion. And if you point at people saying, "Oh, Effy should have beat Moxley," let me be perfectly fucking clear. That match only happened because Jon Moxley wanted it. And Jon Moxley only wanted it because he saw me on Renee's podcast and saw how sweet she was on me and how much of a fan she was. And he had to go in and make it weird so that she would feel like I had more of a connection with him than her. And it got everybody in trouble. And I'm sorry for participating, but I'm not the reason any of that shit happened. If y'all think I asked for a Moxley match, I did not. If y'all think I planned that Moxley match, I did not. And if y'all think that's what I would have done, knowing he had a championship match that next week with CM Punk, no, it's not. And I will forever bear the brunt of all of that situation. But I'm going to tell you what wasn't going to happen that day was Effy beating Moxley. And I just want to say, candidly back, there is something expansive in the fandom of Effy about kind of the yearn. And I do think I was fucked over by Jeff Jarrett. I appreciate it now. I do think I was fucked over historically in a few title matches that maybe would have been a good time to pull the trigger. Sorry, God. But I also think there's this underdog mentality where I'm not technically an underdog now. I was a champion who defended my belt 40-something times. To stand in that position, thank God I didn't beat Jeff Jarrett, okay? For the rest of my existence, I get to say, Jeff Jarrett, no one was talking about that guy. And then as soon as he hit me with a guitar, he's working at WWE and AEW, and he's back on TV. Great job. After that, I then was put in this position where people started figuring out that they could get a little rub off of me, which, in my most heated arguments, I've been reminded that's the whole point of pro wrestling anyway. If you have a rub to give anyone, that's the point of pro wrestling anyway. And I think having that yearn on there and having that kind of exist almost as a blight of maybe it was too late, maybe he should have gotten it before, he got screwed at this point, he got screwed at this point, he kept going at this point. I think it's so much more interesting to look back on, to have those feelings of what should have been than to have everything fall into place perfectly. Because I'm telling you, from the start of that title run, I knew it was not falling into place perfectly. She's broken her leg. I've been a little bit of a bad boy. I think I have some things going on and I don't. And it just, me crying at the end of the night was over a lot of things. It was like being a champion's great. Yeah. I hope I don't have an STD. I hope Allie's okay. Let's get the start of this.
Here comes the stress.
Title
here comes the stress.
You've been, since they thought you should have won against Jeff Jarrett, it's now been 3 years of nonstop wrestling. And here you are with the belt and you're going, how's your body feel, kid? You ready? It's the idea that once you get the bag, you're not going to be ready for it. And I held in there as great as I could. And we'll never know if things hit at the right time. And we'll never know what the future is going to be until we get there. So I'd like to see where things keep going. But I think there's something really magical about having people go, but it should have been. Because that to me is such a connection that, you can't really replicate other than people have to be there and see it. And the beauty of wrestling is people think they know what they know. And so I'm able to also kind of play up on that a little bit of, oh yes, poor me. I was screwed so many times. And I think it's so interesting, that forever, all these guys are going to know that I was correct. And that I was a valuable asset and I was someone who was doing all this work. And, you know, I now get to move forward with that knowledge. And some people will never get the knowledge to begin with. I mean, what a fucking blessing to be able to go, yeah, you got to be careful working with TV guys. They'll screw you and they'll make people think you should have been the winner and they'll run off without a problem and they'll get new jobs. That's crazy to me that I can say, oh, yeah, I've worked so and so and so and so. It's a very cool thing to be a part of, but it's also, I've had such an interesting career so far. I think we're really just getting started on some things. And hopefully, in the next couple of years, I am able to prove myself right and show that the biggest problem for all of you buffoons in pro wrestling who still are being paid and aren't actually really good at this job or adding anything of value to it. I'm still wrestling right now, but the second I stop wrestling, I don't think they understand the amount of free time I'm going to have that's going to go into reinvigorating this business even further without having to actually perform in it. And, this sounds like big talk right now, but it is also, I'm a person who is fueled by accomplishment in a lot of ways, but I am deeply fueled by spite and proving people wrong. And I've done this a long time. And I won't tell you that the best ideas I've had haven't been out of pure fucking fuck you and spite. And I want to show you what I can do. But I think the moment this bug of being a live performer and seeing, it's important to me and it's important to a lot of people. But I also think that there is another chapter coming where I'm going to feel just as fulfilled, putting more people on, putting people in the positions they need to be put in, and, having the energy to expand what we're already doing in an even bigger way, where I'm not bogged down with actually having to be the product and spread the product, but we're not there just yet. And I still need people to support and come to Big Gay Brunch and watch the show. And, if the story is interesting to you right now, it's only going to get more interesting. And luckily I have a crew here and I have, a trusting office that is kind of letting me do what I want to do and us do what we want to do. And there's no better version of wrestling than when the performers not have all their say, but when we are all listening to each other as a team, because everybody has good ideas. And the best thing a leader can do is listen to the people around them. And I think we have a really crazy, incorporated, magical crew where we are not afraid to tell each other we're wrong or right, and we're not afraid to admit defeat or let something go. But we're also not afraid to say how we feel or present our ideas. And that is without consequence, and it's obviously a compromise, but I think that we're going to continue taking over the market share of all of wrestling because we are constantly trying to adapt to each other and create the best product for the fans versus just listening to one or two people's ideas of what this show should look like.
Unbelievable. Indeed. From the first time you guys came over to the house going, you and Mance were sitting there going, we're going to do something big. We're going to show these guys how it's done and we're going to change some things. And I hear that a lot. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
You both, I know you're both easily, in your double digits in the industry, and you were both you looked at me like, no, we're going to do this. Yeah. And then what, 8 months later, 6 months later, you two were on a 1-year tear. Yeah. And then you go on oh man.
Wow. Here's the thing too, that I think a lot of people will notice with Effy long-term. I love wrestling because there's so many people that are talkers, and we need talkers. We need people that talk on podcasts. We need people that cut promos. We need people that are commentary. We need people to reassess these stories. But there are a lot of people who talk about, and when you talk about, but you don't do, it's very easy to assume that the next person along is not going to do as well. And I just want to say, kind of post me and Mance, the craziest part of that whole story is I can tell you there's I've had it confirmed to me by multiple wrestlers that have been around him that there are quite a few moments, at least, if not full matches, of Mance and Effy that the tribal chief was viewing. And I think there were a lot more people viewing what we were doing than will ever admit it out loud, because I also think we were bringing something back that, a lot have followed suit, but there is a sense of realism that we often confuse with wrestling kayfabe realism that has to be, you have to go beyond a certain line, and people aren't always ready to do that. And I think you can see that people were paying attention to what we were doing, whether they admit it or not, across all platforms, across all companies. And God bless him. I mean, he really almost killed me, but I almost killed him back. And there's some frustration to knowing like you continually will be a fountain of youth for other people to use at a higher distribution level. But John, I've never run out of ideas. I've never run out of excitement. I've never run out of motivation. And if you want to use our ideas, or if we help you expand a product, or you see something we do that you want to do to make your product better, please, by all means, use it, because there is personal satisfaction to seeing something you do reflected elsewhere. But there's also the satisfaction of knowing that at no point have I had to rob from anyone else yet. If you're already taken from me, you've run out of ideas, and that's adorable. But I haven't run out of ideas yet. I have so much still in the sleeve. I have so much weird stuff ahead that I want to try and want to expand into. And when I explain some of this stuff to people and they go, I've never even thought of that, I know that I'm in the right in kind of continuing to follow my gut on these weird things that it's going to be mad to, I'm going to be mad when I see it done again on TV by someone less talented than myself, or that doesn't fully understand what I was doing in the first place and wants to do their version. That's fine. But I do know that the way you sway a business has never been by telling them what to do. It has been by letting them see that you're collecting dollars across the way, and they're going, how are they doing that? And they want to do it themselves. It's sad that that's the way it is, but I'm going to continue having my fingerprint all over wrestling, whether they're saying my name or not. And I think people will start to notice, where that fingerprint comes from, more than me having to tell them. But it is the way that wrestling changes, is by holding the dollar sign up in front of them. And I think we've been able to show on a lot of levels, we're a little more than what you'd expect from indie wrestling. We're a little more than what you'd expect from, an indie storyline. And we're a little more in line with what you probably wanted to do with your stories too. So go be my guest. Go ahead. The real ones will know, and I will continue coming up with new ideas.
Okay, here's what's going on, Effy. I've obviously taken a lot of time. 3.5 hours. You're one of our longest interviews. Thank you for that.
I knew we were going to be buckling in, so I'm not scared. I want you to know I've been recording between the podcast and the stream today. I think we're at hour 12 of recording.
Really?
We've been going on. We recorded 3 episodes of the podcast for the Patreon for everything. I did the stream. I'm here with you. We're in it.
I'm surprised your voice is still there.
Having a bump sometimes.
I'll tell you what, I'm honest with you. If you didn't have a co-host, I love talking with you. I would have already pushed something on you at some point or another. I know, because my head's a little wiry and my ideas go everywhere, and yours do too. Yeah. And that actually usually makes a really good show.
It's good. And also listen, that's why I had to start bringing in guests, because Peter was like, number one, I think that people are tired of you talking to me. I don't think that's true. Peter just believes that. But number two,
fantastic.
Number two, I don't really know what you're talking about sometimes. And so when I'm talking about wrestling stuff and I bring stuff up, Peter's like, I'm trying to pretend I'm in the know on this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And so I think, obviously I've had some guests in, and we're going to have more guests on the show. But when I had Darian Bankston in, who, if you're not familiar with Darian Bankston, just I want him on GCW way more. I've known him forever. He's just an interesting person. Peter was like, that could have been the best show we've ever done. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, that I was so pulled in the whole time. I was so fascinated about the way you guys compare wrestling and talk wrestling and do it. I've never heard it discussed or talked about this way. And it's like, I'm doing a disservice to the audience and to Peter by not including all of my cool friends in this and kind of bringing them in. Bingo. And I want to, I think, talking with you, obviously, I've gotten a lot of good ideas out because you're someone who I can converse with and talk with and sort of bring those other people from wrestling in. I hope that, it fills a bit of a gap that like an Art of Wrestling has not had in a while. You know, I'm wrestling Colt Cabana this Thursday for the first time ever. And I think this is a fitting time for him to hand over the moniker of guy who interviews wrestlers. And I hope, you know, he'll at least let me interview him for a second on that so we can discuss it. But I do think that there is a new role here. And I want the conversations to work. I want the expansion to work. But I also think sometimes, as good as I am as presenting people as wrestlers at wrestling shows, there are sides to them that I think I can give to the world that they've never seen before. And I want to keep opening people's eyes to the personalities that I'm getting to know that maybe they're only seeing a little part of in their matches, because I think the joy of getting to slightly at least understand a human behind the character and see them succeed or see what they go through. There is some magic in that, but there is magic that you're not going to hear unless you're really getting someone who knows how to pick apart their brain and pick apart what they're really doing. And the same way I would book a person on a wrestling show, I want to book them to talk to me so that you understand them in a way that is even more magic.
I think that's a great thing for you to do, honestly. Which one was it? The gentleman who does the slap fighting. He
Stunt
was enjoyable.
Marshall. Yeah.
Love him. I watch slap fighting. So for me, well, really the wife loves it. I
yeah.
don't. And so I end up watching it too. And now I like it. And he's got it. He's
well,
got
and I think what they realize too is the slap fights are pretty short. There's a lot of build around the outside. Not only are they going to need some tough guys who can slap, they need some tough guys who can slap that you want to tune in, or that you're passing the channel and you go, wait a second. And the wrestlers that they brought in, it's been very fascinating to see your Juicy Finales, Marty the Moth, Zicky Dice, you know, Stunt Marshall here. Some of the girls too, Haley J,
the JCW crew.
Yeah, coming in and doing some really cool stuff. But it's like this business is based on a very short match, and that's the slap fight.
Yeah. And
to see them kind of embracing these personalities early on, I think is awesome. But Stunt Marshall also, God, what a psychopath. And I start to realize when I look around that like I have really deep connections in wrestling to people that I've never pulled favors on. And I think it's time to start pulling a few favors. And
you've never pulled a single one on me, brother, and I'm so thankful. I'll say it out because it's late in the night. We'll just do this. You were the only performer I've ever DM'd and said, listen, I know this way more than people think I know this industry. And I want to thank you for being one of the few who never asked a damn thing of me.
Yeah. Well,
I just want you to know that up front and say it out here in the open. Absolutely. People think I know less than maybe I know. And one of the things that's really important in this industry is how much you ask of others and how much you need of others. And you've also given way more than I've ever needed.
Let me speak selfishly though, because recognizing when someone has a skill or an interest that they are trying to expand on, that in the end only benefits our audiences. We now can explain more to them. We now have people who are paying attention to the stories and kind of going over with the fans and getting their thoughts and getting their things. And whether or not it changes things or moves things around, when I see someone who's putting effort into trying to expand anything, I want to treat them with the kind of respect where we don't run them off right away. Because I've seen a lot of people come into wrestling and they get used up or spit up because they're nice right away. And wrestling is real quick to do that. And for me, a long-term partnership is everything I want in every part of this. And so when I see you come in and I go, wait a second, John is a fan, John is serious, John is knowledgeable, and John is here trying to do something that also benefits us here, I want to make sure that I'm checking in on you too to go, you realize you're doing me a service as well, you know? And so for that to be symbiotic, I don't want to run people out. I don't want to tear people down. And I would rather people use me at any point. Not saying that but I'm saying like, I'm very aware, I'm hyper aware of a lot of things. And I think a lot of wrestlers aren't. And I think the one thing that being hyper aware is very good for is longevity. And long live GCW, long live Effy. I'm still out here, baby.
I want to message. I want to say something here that was brought up by Rob Sanderson, and we have not talked about this tonight. You are fantastic on commentary. Down the road, if you have a broken toe or some shit and you can't move too much, commentary, I think, is going to really be a good thing for you because you shine on it.
I think part of that obviously comes from I've done those Twitch streams throughout COVID and beyond, where I never want to be dismissive of wrestling, especially if it's me commentating it and trying to put over indie wrestlers. But there's a lot of wrestling that I've watched on stream that is particularly fucking ass. And for that to work, I have to be even more PR than I can be. And sometimes putting commentary on a match that is not a good match and doing your best to make it seem like a good match really is a great way to get good at doing commentary on good matches. And I remember I was at a show with Prazak a few years ago, and he was like, Effy, I was listening to you on commentary on this show. You're really incredible at it. You should keep doing it. I'd love to hear more of you on it. And I went, Prazak, are you trying to get fired? I said, I need people to stop telling me to do their jobs too. Don't do their jobs too. We did have Gage on commentary at Big Gay Brunch that one time. But the Cannonball Fest, I love Jeff so much. I love Tara too, but I love Jeff Cannonball so much. And to see my chicken just jumped out.
I was going to say, was that a chicken or?
It was a chicken.
Okay.
And Bobby, to see that my knee was hurt, then I couldn't do the work. I was so mad. And I was like, how can I help? And they were like, well, just get on commentary. To be able to jump in and like be that kind of a role that can guide through a show like that, and to trust myself enough that I know the competitors, I know the moves, I know the matches to do that. I think commentary is such an underrated role. I don't want to have to do it quite yet, but I would love to take a real crazy heel turn and just be on commentary for a year, because I think it could really expand a lot of what these people are doing in the ring. I know commentary has always been something that I have relied on and not relied on for me to do. I mean, relied on for me to help express the message, tell the story, let people know what's happening, let people know what's going on. To get to be a part of that, I take a great responsibility in it as well, but I don't want to take anybody's job right now. What is this chicken doing? What are you doing?
Bro, I'm going to tell you, I wish I knew commentary. Oh my goodness. I wish I knew commentary. Would that be?
It is a very strange balancing act.
It's a weird one.
It is absolutely, and it is a rhythmic nightmare to sit in if you don't understand what you're doing, but figuring out those moments of where your silence is as valuable as your speech, and figure out those moments where you do need things outside of just what is being shown in front of you. You do need the background information. I don't know. I've always enjoyed it, but it's once again, I'm going like, I don't want to take your job, but I'm going to take somebody's job eventually. I would love to continue doing commentary.
Okay, so I keep saying we're going to shorten it. Here's what we're going to do. I got some fun questions that fans had. I got a couple questions of my own. This is all lighthearted. It can be spitfire. Okay. I can see you're dying over there.
I'm going to fall asleep soon. I got to be honest.
Exactly. Okay,
I can sleep in a little tomorrow.
All right. So how are all the pets at the House of Effy? Let's start there.
Okay. Very good. Winter, not the best time for these southern ass animals. Bobby doesn't care about the cold. We obviously are down to one chicken, Zoe Kravitz, but she's doing very well. She's very trained. And Lucy is as delightful as ever. Now, they went through the sadness. We lost Cranberry. But I think, the spirit of Cranberry is here with us in this chicken a little bit. She's like the little brown girl that we had in the house, the little brown baby dog. And seeing the dogs be both fascinated and completely scared of this chicken has been absolutely rewarding. The chicken will be back outside very soon as we get some new brothers and sisters, but it is like kind of just the craziest thing that it's really kind of helped the dogs get over the grief a little bit.
I wanted to also say blessings out there to Cranberry. I don't know if I actually waited to say something to you. There was a performer that found out when my mom passed. He goes, everybody asks how you're doing, but I like to wait a week or two or even a month and ask how you're doing, because that's when you get the real answer,
right.
So I never got a chance to reach out, but I just want to ask you, even with just a small amount of time, how you doing?
Well, not to big brain it, but there is like an era to a dog. And I think what people don't understand is like, I got Cranberry and I was already in wrestling, but I was not I had been wrestling, right? But nobody knew what I was doing. This is very early. And so to kind of go from where I was at in that relationship, where I was at getting that dog, to where she sort of saw me off at that point is like this really crazy thing to think about. And it sort of puts back into perspective, like the kind of oopsie daisy of everything. And so I think like as I was saying goodbye to Cranberry, I was sort of also kind of like saying goodbye to this strange tightrope that I've been walking in a lot of ways. Where like we're still in touch and we're still friends and we're still, you know, supportive of each other. But I think like when I got this dog, when I got this relationship, when these things happened, I never expected to become a full-time professional wrestler. Like it was not on my mind. It was not in my thoughts. I just thought I'm going to do this. It's good for me. I'm not drinking. I'm getting more shows. I'm having fun. I have this person in my life. I have this dog in my life. And to now see where I sit now, where like this has, for better or for worse, become my life. For better or for worse, kept me, you know, in a position where I'm constantly sort of moving and traveling and not in one place. She was there for a lot of things. She was there for a lot of growth, but she also is now seeing me off to go like, you were here for me the whole time. You were here for each other the whole time. I want to see what that next step is. I feel a little less tied to home. I have Peter here taking care of, you know, the things as they sort of happen. Bebop's very understanding. But to kind of, you know, especially that December, I had a lot more time with her towards the end, which was really beneficial. But it was kind of it halts you in your tracks to go like, oh, I didn't even realize from the moment this started to where I am today, I am a completely different person. And she saw me along that whole way. And I know it's a dog. I get that. But it is, you mourn not only the loss of your friend as a dog, but you kind of mourn the loss of the fact that like, I'm in a whole different world. I'm in a world I never expected. I'm in a world I never thought she'd see, and she saw me before that. And it's just like, yes, their lives are very short and small, but also think of how much your life changes in the course of their lifetime. And for good or for bad, I stand where I stand. I'm proud of where I stand, but it is crazy to see like from this little dog walking into your life to her, you know, all dogs go to heaven tooing. It's a whole nother world that I'm existing in now. And so I'm very, I think I've processed a lot of the grief, but I also am like, it's the grieving of a self, and it's the grieving of a choice of not being a regular human being. And there's good that comes with that. There's bad that comes with that. And I'm sure I'll have a lot of regrets in some years, and I'll have a lot of things I wish I did differently, but I am alive and I am making choices, and I'm happy when I, you know, wake up and I sleep without issue. And I think I have to just be like grateful that I'm at this position now, you know?
Well, I said we were going to keep it lighthearted, but you know, I had to say something about Cranberry. Anybody who's been listening to you for years knows how important Cranberry was centrally to your life at all times. So I felt Cranberry deserves 2 or 3 minutes on this show in memoriam, because I get it.
She's one of the only dogs that's ever had a GCW trading card.
Oh, no shit.
Factual. Factual.
Okay. Have fun, Spitfire. Here we go. Do you have a favorite cologne or perfume?
I used to wear Jacquard Noir, but then I found out I shouldn't because it's cheap, but I like the way it smells, honest to God. Otherwise, I don't wear any cologne or perfume. I actually rarely wear deodorant. Sometimes people after shows, people will come up and hug me and be like, you smell so good. And I'm like, the devil has lied to you.
That's the magic working right there.
Yeah, that's the pheromones.
So you're a coffee guy. Are you still using that same French press?
The French press broke. I've been using a mocha for the past few weeks. Well, months. The problem I have with the mocha, like the top, and it's a, what do you call it? A percolator, metal Italian percolator. It's not as big as I need it to be. And so I end up having to make 2 or 3 pots of coffee,
that's
for me and Peter to drink. But I love the strength of the percolator because it really like forces the water through. I haven't had a French press in a while. I want another French press, but Peter's also convinced me that it sits too long in there and gets stale. So I'm trying to, I don't know. The mocha coffee is very good.
My wife is Cuban, so she said, just like a French press, a Cuban coffee can be good sometime too.
Yes, I actually.
FYI.
I need her to also know that I want the Cuban coffee, but I want the picadillo. I want the picadillo beef with the olives.
With
the raisins and olives.
Ropa Vieja. is the
Ropa
the beef and pork kind of.
Look who we got. Hold up.
Here we go. I was gonna do a show and tell. There's our show and tell, baby, right there.
Yeah, she woke up and walked over here. This is Zoe Kravitz. She's a chicken.
Aww.
Here, hang up. Come here.
Aww.
She's very friendly.
I've seen bits here and there, and just a little bit online, which you've shared.
Yeah, she's hiding a little bit right now. Bobby's hopping up here too. I'm trying to get here, baby. Come here. She thinks she's a parrot, which is cute. Come here, hop up. Get down.
You been fucked up pretty good by the claws yet, or no?
She's been pretty sweet. Why isn't she? Okay. Well, no.
And this is how we lose Effy for the night, right?
Hold on. I got this. Hold up. Watch out. She just wanted to come cuddle. Oh my god, she's crazy.
You're good. You're good.
She likes sitting on my keyboard.
Okay,
she's like, why are you up at 2 a.m? What are you doing?
Okay, so yeah, we'll get this running here soon. Let me see if I got a couple more. Oh yeah, you're a Great British Baking person. What's your thoughts on Prue retiring?
Okay, hold up. Where did you just go? I just had this.
We got lost in another browser tab.
I just have to look through this thing and find the browser tab. Oh my god.
We're almost done, I swear.
I know. Hold on. Where did you go? Oh no.
I'm usually a hard one to lose.
Hold up, I know. This is crazy. Okay, that's not real. Usually it has the little red thing.
Yeah.
Oh, come here. I got this. You can't see my chicken right now, but she's here.
No. I can hear it though.
You can hear the chicken?
Yeah. I'm hearing.
Yeah, this is why people don't think I'm fine, because I got a chicken on my head.
It's either gas or a chicken. I'm guessing it's a chicken.
It's a chicken.
Yeah.
How did you disappear on me? Hold up. I'm looking closer. I'm looking close as I can.
You're fine.
This doesn't even make sense. Where did you go? You're not even on here. How is it? Hold up.
You're good. Again, also, don't forget, it's almost 2 a.m.
I know. I'm losing my mind here. I feel like we've done this. I feel like we're deep.
Let's do it. You want to close her out kind of thing? And we'll get rolling?
I can't find you. Where did you go? This is so bad. Hold on.
It actually works out because we get to see the Weekend at Effy's graphic.
Oh my god.
Since you're not in front of it now.
Oh, let's see. Oh, I'm going down here. Maybe it went further. Hey, there's the graphic. Okay. No.
We got you. You got this. I believe
I'm looking through every line on here and I'm not seeing you.
Oh no.
This is absurd.
I love live. Everybody loves live. This is how it goes. It's a beautiful thing.
How does it end without a whimper or a bang? No, it's ending on nothing. I literally cannot find you here.
You're good. You're good.
Wait, I found it. Oh, I have too many.
Oh yeah, that's you. I found you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please.
My baby here.
Like I said, it's only almost 2 a.m. and you've done so much today.
My baby.
Let me do this. Let's get you the hell out of here. My God, it's been so wonderful. Thank you again. I erased about 30 questions. It's just how it is. There are some people we just click and it is what it is. The good news is I have some questions for you down the road when time permits. Do you want to say anything to your fans before you leave?
Just buckle up and just trust the ride and feel the way you feel about it. You know what I mean? Like it's going to get weird over the next few months and I'm really excited to see where it goes. Support where you can. No judgment on what you can't support if you can't. And I, want to wish you at least the option of just letting the cards fall where they may. See what happens.
And then would you like to plug those socials real quick there?
I really would. Please listen to Weekend at Effy's. We work really hard on our podcast. I think it's very interesting. I think it's a very unique podcast for wrestling, obviously, as I stroke my bird. Effy lives on every platform. I think I just got rid of TikTok because I'm not really into it. But Effy lives on all the socials. Weekend at Effy's is on Facebook now too, if you want to check that out. And if you want to join the Patreon, there's only one Effy Patreon. It's weekend@effys.com. There's a bunch of ways to support. There's a bunch of ways to support and get free stuff and get merch discounts and to help me, pay for these chickens. So that's the best place to find me. And please watch Effy's Big Gay Brunch. If you can't come in person, $7.99 for a fight subscription. I think, it's a crazy deal, especially with that week with the shows that they're going to be putting on. And I would like to see a lot of friendly faces there at the brunch. But if you can't, I just want to hear you enjoying it at home, watching with your own brunch.
Tag the hell out of Effy's Big Gay Brunch when it comes up. Make it trend. It usually does, doesn't it?
It does, but it's harder in the past few years because everything's a little more segmented. Not because there's less interest, but just like before the Nazis bought Twitter, there was a little easier to get things over that were gay and big and brunch. And then we realized one year, they're suppressing us because we have gay in the hashtag. So we can't have that anymore. So that's why we've had to kind of change to the hashtag FEBGB11 this year. And the trend or not trend, really, I just want it to be, I want more people to find us. I want more people to know about us. I know there's somebody out there who could use it. And I hope it gets to the right audience. I know.
The chicken has the last word.
She gives me kisses.
I hear
really,
right
they're just crazy affectionate. And she's grown such a trust for me. And it's like, I don't know, it's very cool. Hey,
the problem is we're both country as shit, and we could talk about this longer than we should.
Did you see her nails? I've done her nails up real pretty.
Are those all different colors? I think I see pink or purple there. Oh shit! This is why we can't have nice things, Effy.
She just wants to be. They're purplish pink right now. Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
You can paint them while she roosts. She don't even mind.
Thank you so much for everything. I hate to say goodbye, but I love also saying goodbye. You've done so much for everyone tonight.
Thank you.
As always, you're loved. It's nice talking to you on one level or another. Please just keep up with the continued success. Everybody is waiting and watching.
I'm ready to give them even more. We're gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go put my chicken to bed.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, John.
All right. Long live GCW. Good night, y'all.